Welcome to the Brian Craig Show. My name is Brian Craig, and this is where MAGA comes to talk. Welcome, one and all, and we got a lot to cover. I'm going to start today with this news story about Dan Bongino. This is from Fox News. Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino to decide about future at Bureau in coming weeks, sources say. I'm going to go through that story. We're going to break it down and talk about it in detail. And there's a lot of things we're going to cover today. We're going to cover the comments that the president has made about Rob Reiner and a lot more. There's a lot to cover on the program today. So welcome. Your calls are always welcome. If you're watching live, you can call me live on the program. The number is pinned in the live chat, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. Now, these stories about Dan Bongino, I'll read through the stories with the updates in a moment, but just want to say a couple things first. The thing with Dan Bongino, I don't think he ever wanted the job as deputy FBI director. You know, he had a huge business going with his podcast and radio show. Huge. He had spent a lot of money, renovating a former fast food restaurant here in Florida into his studio where he did his radio show, his podcast, and TV things when you would see him on television. And they really spent a lot of money. They took this fast food restaurant that was closed down and turned it into basically not just a podcast radio facility, but a television studio at great expense. And he was making millions of dollars doing that. He also had some business interest in other things. And I don't think he wanted this job at all. I think he took it not even out of a feeling of obligation. I think he felt almost, I'm not saying President Trump was doing this to him, but I think he felt embarrassed to take it, meaning, I don't know if that's the right term. He felt an obligation in the eyes of his audience to take it. And there have been some things that have happened that have been very good in the last couple of weeks. They got the pipe bomber. We haven't seen the lawfare arrest that we've wanted. And without question, I mean, come on. Dan Bongino has not been the deputy FBI director that MAGA has wanted or expected. And the way I thought Bongino would be as deputy FBI director, and I think this expectation that I had is an expectation that most other MAGA people had, and this is it. I thought, Kash Patel, obviously, as the director of the FBI, would be at the main headquarters and offices in Washington. And I thought Dan Bongino would be to Kash Patel what Tom Homan is to Kristi Noem, meaning that Dan Bongino would be out there leading teams of FBI agents, kicking in doors, and bringing people to justice. And we haven't seen much of anything from Dan Bongino. I was very excited that they got the pipe bomber, don't get me wrong, but we saw in the early days of his tenure as deputy FBI director, he did an interview with Bartiromo with Kash Patel, and then he did a follow-up interview on Fox and Friends. And what I heard was a whiny guy. I mean, he was just whining and sweating a lot and seemed to have a lot of regret. And when he did this Fox News interview, which was a Fox and Friends interview, this was after the Bartiromo disaster. He was talking about how he spent all day locked in his room, in his office, little room next to next to Kash Patel's office, and that how his marriage had broken up, and then he corrected it. It's well, we're living apart. We're not split. And I think that Dan Bongino had a lot of people around President Trump that he's brought in, like Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary. These are people that are millionaires and billionaires, okay, and have been for a long time. And a lot of their wealth comes in regardless of whether or not they're actually working. And Dan Bongino is I know he had some business interest in things, but mainly his income from the radio show and the podcast, there's no residual income. We will get into Rob Reiner and Trump in a bit. Don't worry. I want to go through Bongino first, then I'll get into Rob Reiner and Trump. There's no residual income coming in. Like Scott Bassett has a lot of financial interest and stocks and all this stuff. And others around him do too. But Dan Bongino with his podcast, and I know they brought a guy in and it's just not the same. And the radio show, he has to be there to do it, right? He has to be there to do it, to make the money. And he was making millions of dollars, but it's not coming in now because he's not there doing the show. And I think that's caused tremendous stress and strain on him and his family because the millions that he had coming in was new. So it's not like Scott Bassett or some others in the Trump administration that have all this money that's already socked away. This was kind of a new thing with him. And, to walk away from that for a job that pays less than he was making in a week, I'm sure it's a wreck for his family financially. No question about that. And, I'm a working guy and I get it. I understand him, and you guys are too, for the most part. I'm sure we have some independently wealthy people and retired people out there that are set, but for most people, you got to go to work every day, at least 5 days a week, or in my case, 7 days a week, to support yourself and your family. And he walked away from all that, and I think it's caused tremendous financial stress and turmoil on his family. And I think that's, when he did that Fox News interview, you could tell there was marital problems because he said they had split and then he corrected it. I think he used the word divorce, if I remember, and then he corrected it. Remember that? It was live. And when it comes to marriages, the most common reason that people have marital problems is financial. The second one is, affairs and stuff, but financial put a tremendous amount of stress on marriages, and many a marriage ends just over that alone. So I think that's it. Also, I have talked about this many times over the years. I don't think that Dan Bongino is the federal agent we thought he was. Now, I know he was a Secret Service agent, and he was, for some period of time, a NYPD police officer. But as far as I could tell from what I've looked up about Bongino, we know he did the protective detail for Obama, but he only worked on one investigation that involved crimes in the Secret Service. And I think he's hyped up his resume a lot from his Fox News career and his radio and podcast. I think he has hyped him. He's padded his resume, so to speak, with his rhetoric on the air, about who he is, and what his capabilities are. And I think once he got the job, he really didn't know what he was doing and had the ability to do it. You look at Tom Homan. I'm going to play a little bit of this later. He gave a great little speech, a couple-minute speech in the Oval Office yesterday. He's in the Oval Office today, yesterday, but today he'll be patrolling the southern border, kicking indoors and leading teams of federal agents on ICE raids. And we've seen it happen many times because he's the real deal. He came up through the ranks, Tom Homan. Dan Bongino, I don't think knows how to do it. He's an office cop, not a real cop, and he really doesn't know what he's doing. This is not something I'm just talking about now. I've talked about this for months. Now, that's not to say that he was instrumental in bringing down the pipe bomber, but that's not, we expected a lot more, didn't we? Didn't you guys expect a lot more? Yeah, absolutely. And I think what he's doing now is trying to get back to his program and get that money coming in. Now, let me pull this story up from, I've got a few stories about this. They're all on my X, Brian Craig Show on X, about Bongino. There's a Fox News story, there's a Gateway Pundit story, and then there's another. But I want to first go through the Gateway Pundit story. And if you'd like to call in, if you have any thoughts on this, you're certainly welcome. The number's toll-free, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. Okay, now this is in the Gateway Pundit, and here's the headline. Bongino to make decision about his future at the FBI in the next few weeks. FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino will decide his future at the FBI within the next few weeks, according to Fox News. Over the summer, it was reported that FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino took a day off from work after a clash with Attorney General Pam Bondi over the handling of the Epstein files. And I remember that. And if you notice, since that day off, there's been a big change. We haven't seen Dan Bongino too much. We saw him with the pipe bomber. They did come out with the pipe bomber. I saw him at the Charlie Kirk Memorial, but he hasn't been doing interviews. You haven't seen him so much since. The Gateway Pundit writes, the blow-up between Bondi and Bongino happened after the FBI and DOJ released a 2-page memo concluding Epstein did not have a client list. Bongino did not report to work Friday, the Friday of that week, amid speculation about his whereabouts, said a source familiar with the perspectives of Department of Justice leaders, who also believe that Bongino was considering leaving. This came after a confrontation at a meeting with Bondi at the White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, during which Bongino and Patel were asked about a news story suggesting they were dissatisfied with the decision not to release additional Epstein files. Now, since then, President Trump signed a bill into law making it federal law to release all the files, according to a source familiar with the story. According to some reports, Dan Bongino took a whole week off after this Epstein file blow-up with Susie Wiles and Pam Bondi. It was also previously reported that Dan Bongino was considering resigning if Bondi stayed at the Department of Justice. And even then, I talked about how I think he's looking for an out to get back to his radio show and podcast that was raking in millions of dollars. Last month, it was reported by MS Now that Kash Patel is on thin ice and may be ousted soon. They also reported that top FBI official Andrew Bailey is in line to take Kash Patel's place. And if you remember, after this blow-up and when Dan Bongino didn't show up for work for a day or however long it was months ago after this Susie Wiles Bondi meeting, if you remember, Trump brought in a new job that never has existed before, right? A second deputy director of the FBI. There's only been historically one deputy director. So they brought in this other guy who was he from Maryland? I'll skip down some of this about Kash Patel. But the reports have also said that Dan Bongino has cleaned out his office. That is, he's cleaned out his desk and cleaned out his office, and it's all empty now. All right, so let me see. That was from the Gateway Pundit. The Fox News story. Again, all these stories are on my X, Brian Craig Show on X. Here's Fox News. Deputy FBI Director Dan Bongino to decide about future at Bureau in coming weeks. FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino will make a decision about his future at the Bureau within the next few weeks. Two sources familiar with his considerations tell Fox News. The sources deny recent reports that Bongino's office at the FBI is empty, but they say his departure is a possibility in the future. So it's been reported in multiple sources that he cleaned out his desk and emptied out his office of all of his personal items at the FBI. But Fox News source says that's not true, although he's planning on leaving. A source familiar with the situation told Fox News that Bongino has not made any decisions about his future. His tenure at the FBI has come under fire in recent weeks alongside Kash Patel. Earlier this month, a report from an alliance of active duty and retired FBI, blah, blah, blah. And then we had a story about that came out last week from Miranda Devine, which was very strange. Dan Bongino responded to the Miranda Devine story last week. He said, Devine loves attacking our reform agenda while gossipy anecdotes from disgruntled former employees because she's upset that her reporting keeps falling apart under scrutiny. This is Bongino talking about Miranda Devine. You can always count on Miranda for a timed hit piece when the director and I make big changes, Bongino wrote on X. Miranda prefers the old guard. I don't. Full steam ahead. Okay, and that's Fox News. And then I have one more story. Let me see. Pull up. And Miranda Devine is very well connected to the White House. If you look at her podcast, Podforce One, and even since she wrote that story, she's dropped at least one big interview there from top White House people. Let's see here. Well, the other story is pretty much a reprint of what I've shared. I want to hear your thoughts on this about Bongino leaving. Do you agree with my theory that he wants to leave to get that he wants to leave so he can get back to his podcast and radio show that was making millions of dollars a month? Do you agree or disagree with my belief that he's in over his head and doesn't know what he's doing, that he's padded his resume quite a bit? I've talked about that for months. But here's another question. If he returned to his program next week, would it be the same? Now, everybody would tune in the beginning, okay? Everyone's going to listen to that first show in that first week, okay? But what is he going to do on week 2? You know, if Dan Bongino returned to his podcast and there had been a whole bunch of major arrests from the lawfare people that he was directly responsible and involved with, and it does look like he's been sidelined, doesn't it? That'd be a different thing. But he's going to come back. Now, he has the pipe bomber, so he'll come back. Everybody will listen the first week. And I don't think that, does he take calls on his program? Like I do? I mean, like regular calls from listeners, not phone guests? Does anyone know? So the first week, there'd be a lot of excitement. He'd come back. The second week, he could stretch that probably into the pipe bomber. But what would he do on week 3, 4, 5, and beyond if he came back to his podcast? You know, I remember Howard Stern was, remember when Piers Morgan replaced Larry King on CNN years ago? His first guest was Oprah Winfrey, which was a big coup at the time. And his second night was Howard Stern. And Howard Stern, I remember watching it, he said to Piers Morgan, he said, you had Oprah, he says, your show's not going to make it. And he says, what are you talking about? He says, I had the number 1 show in England. He said, England is a tiny country. That's like having the number 1 show in Jersey. It's not like having the number 1 show in the United States. Thought that was an interesting thing. But he said, you had Oprah on last night. You got me on tonight. What are you going to do tomorrow night? Then what are you going to do next week? And Stern was right. So Bongino, everybody would tune in the first week. First show, first week, no question. Second week, he could stretch and go through the pipe bomber case. But what's he going to do week 3 and beyond? And I think what he would turn into, because this is where he's really feeling, and he's going to want to deflect blame, because people are going to be, in my opinion, and I could be very wrong, we'd see what happens. If you return to his podcast after the first week of celebration, the second week about the pipe bomber investigation, when he got to week 3 and beyond, he would eventually move into this saving face move, because the excitement of the return would be over. And I know that MAGA people are incredibly disappointed with Dan Bongino. Aren't you? Absolutely. You know, disappointed not just with him, but Kash and Pam Bondi. It's not just him. It's all 3 of them. Okay? No doubt about it. The entire Trump administration has been overperforming beyond anyone's expectations, except the Justice Department. Except those 3, right? Yeah. And this has been ongoing. So I think he would get into a saving face move. And what's that going to be? Attacking Kash, attacking Bondi, attacking Trump? Talking about how his hands were tied, his wrists were tied. He wanted to do all these things they wouldn't let him do. Would he say that he walked away because they wouldn't let him do what he wanted to do? He wanted to arrest this person. He wanted to arrest that person. But he wasn't allowed to do it by the Trump. Would he become kind of like a Marjorie Taylor Greene figure? And I think he would, if my theory is correct that he's returning for, to get his business back. And here's another thing. would it come back? He's been off the air for a long time. He's disappointed MAGA. So after the original excitement, would his show be relevant anymore like it was before? So these are all questions that I'm curious to hear your thoughts on. If you're new to the program, my name is Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. And I've been telling you guys, Mike Lindell at MyPillow, the next governor of Minnesota. I'm going to talk more about him because apparently there's some polls out that are looking pretty good for Mike Lindell in Minnesota. So we'll get into that. But great deals at MyPillow.com. Look at these Christmas specials. Over 50% off the MyPillow towel sets. The MyPillow slippers, just $39.98. Incredible deals on the MyPillow mattress toppers. I have all these products, by the way. Save over 50% off the MyPillows themselves. Save over 50% off the Giza Dream Sheets that are 100% cotton, no matter the size. And you can use my promo code KANE at checkout, KANE, on all the specials at MyPillow.com. And I really need you guys to load up this December because after the first of the year is when I'm going to find out if Mike Lindell and MyPillow are going to continue sponsoring the early show here in 2026. So if we have a very good showing from you guys using my promo code KANE at checkout, KANE at MyPillow.com, during the month of December, I'll have a whole year deal with them for all next year for this early show, and I'd really appreciate that. So please go to MyPillow.com, use my promo code KANE. Now remember, you can use my promo code KANE at checkout on all the specials at MyPillow.com, not just the ones I talk about. All right, let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
From Texas.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Texas.
Good morning, Brian. How are you?
I'm doing very well. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, look, I just want to say one thing to you. When are y'all going to call for Trump's resignation? For what he said yesterday was, if you don't have nothing good to say, just don't say nothing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Then why are you saying negative things? You're calling in saying negative. You said, no, hold on a second. You just said, hold on. You just said if you don't have something good to say, don't say anything. You just said a few negative things that aren't good about President Trump.
I did not say anything about, I didn't say what he said. You see, that's the problem with y'all. What's the problem?
Well, you're a hypocrite. You're a hypocrite.
I'm not a hypocrite.
You said, yeah.
When are you going to call for his resignation?
The 5th of never.
Okay, because then you're a hypocrite. Because what he said yesterday,
what did he say?
People said about Charlie Kirk.
What did he say?
You know what he said.
Tell me. No. What did he say yesterday?
I'm not going to repeat what he said.
Well,
what he said about
you're outraged at what he said.
What he's so wrong.
Hold on a second. Tell me what he said. Tell me what he said that you take issue with.
I'm not going to repeat it.
You don't know what he said. You don't know what he said.
Yeah, I know what he said.
Then tell me.
Yeah, I know what he said, Brian.
Then tell me.
I'm not going to repeat what he said.
You don't know what he said.
It was so vile. I'm not going to repeat.
You don't know what he said.
You don't talk about the dad like that.
You don't know what he said.
And I'm so sick and tired of y'all because y'all sit up there, y'all let him do whatever the hell he wants to do.
What? Use the First Amendment? Why? It's free speech?
No, Brian.
Hold on a second here. You are taking issue with. Excuse me. You said that you're taking issue with what he said. You don't. I'm going to put you on hold. All you know is that the left are attacking him for something he said. You don't know what he said. You just are attacking him.
What they said about Charlie Kirk, people lost their jobs.
No. What did Trump say yesterday that you're so upset about?
Yeah, you know what he said.
No.
You know what he said.
Oh, I know what he said. I know, excuse me. I know what he said. I don't think you know what he said.
I know what he said, Brian. What he said, he's dead because his Trump derangement syndrome. That's the only reason he's dead.
That's not what he said.
Because he doing the good at. Yeah.
Rob Reiner. Here's the thing with you, and why you have no credibility. Okay. You believe that President Trump said something. You don't know what he said. You know it was about Rob Reiner.
I know what he said.
Let me finish my sentence. Let me finish my sentences. And you're calling on him to resign, okay? But you're always calling on him to resign or be impeached. You don't agree with anything he says or does. No,
I don't.
I mean, here he is reading. Here he is. Excuse me. Stop it. Excuse me. Stop interrupting. Have some manners. You know, here he is saving American lives, taking out the drug cartels, and you want him removed from office for that,
How do you
too.
know that? How do you know that? How do you know that? You don't know what's on them boats, Ryan. You don't know.
Well, but we know this.
You don't know
yes,
because...
yes, we know. We do know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that the moon is not made of green cheese because I haven't been to it, right? Is the moon made of green cheese?
No, Brian.
Well, how do you know? How do you know?
Stupid.
Excuse me. How do you know that the moon is not made of green cheese?
Brian, why don't they, instead of them blowing
Oh,
those boats
no.
up,
Excuse me. You say that you can only know things that you see in person and see and touch, right? Do you know if Somalia exists?
What? That's a stupid ass question.
No. Well, is Somalia an actual place?
That's a stupid ass question.
No.
I'm not gonna
Well,
answer
have
that.
you been? You haven't been there, so how do you know it's there?
How do you know it's there?
Well, because people tell us that make maps and have credibility and such. There are people that have okay. So the same goes with the drug boats.
What I'm saying is, Brian, if it's which is drugs are destroying this country. It's drugs destroying this country. Drugs are destroying this country.
Do you know?
Why don't he capture those
Let me ask you this.
people and charge those people?
Elvis Presley, is he dead or alive? Elvis Presley.
He's dead. Come on, man.
How do you know that?
Come on, man.
Did you see him in the casket?
You know he's dead.
Did you see him in the casket?
Well, how no? Charlie Kirk may not be dead. How
No,
do I know that?
because we saw that live on television. We saw him
Well,
get
how
shot.
you know that? How do
Because
you know
we
that?
saw
That
it live.
could- that could be
We
fake.
saw it live.
That could be fake.
Everybody saw him. No, don't try to
Brian,
use my
what I'm
tricks
saying,
against
what-
me. What you're saying is ridiculous. Oh my goodness. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Please. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, Brian, this is Richie.
Hey, Richie.
I want to preempt. You're coming up. You're going to be talking about Rob Reiner, but this guy from Texas just called up. If I was President Trump, I would announce tomorrow or today I'm running for another term. Let me instead of resigning. Let me say this, and I don't know how you feel. I know a lot of people say never talk about the dead, never talk negative about the dead. Well, I got to tell you, I'm not one of those guys that feel that way. This guy, not for nothing. I'm sorry that his son stabbed him to death, who's been a drug addict since he's 15. A man who lives in a giant mansion with walls all over the place, telling the average guy how to live, and completely attacking President Trump for the last.
Well, see, Rob
12 years?
Reiner was doing more than going on liberal shows and attacking him. He was in league working with deep state people like James Clapper, who was part of the coup against President Trump, in the unlawful coup against his first term, the lawfare during the Autopin term, and even still today. So he's been working with Clapper and Comey and Brennan for years. Of course, Trump's pissed off at him.
And why should President Trump be a phony? I voted for him because he's not a phony politician that would say, "Oh, we're going to miss this poor guy." The guy has been attacking President. If you put yourself in President Trump's position, if somebody was attacking you for 12 years and your family and the way you and your policies and everything, do you think you'd have a good word for him, or you think you'd have to shut up?
Well, not only that, he was Rob Reiner. You know, see, I did not realize this, okay? Because when I knew Rob Reiner was a liberal and would run his mouth on TV a lot, but I didn't. You know, if you go back, I don't even remember if I've ever played any Rob Reiner clips while he was alive. If I did, it's been a long time and only a couple times because I don't really care what celebrities think. So but I knew he was out there trashing him all the time, but I never really paid attention to it because And then yesterday, what I found out is that he formed this organization investigating Russian collusion. This was after the first victory, and he was in bed with these deep state people. You know what Rob Reiner was doing, and by the way, the left, the Brennans and the Clappers and the Comeys, they would use Rob Reiner for their mission to fundraise among, like-minded never-Trumpers because he's famous. And also he could get on TV anytime he wanted to push their agenda. And he was working, what Rob Reiner had been doing since President Trump's first term was part of that illegal mission that Obama put Brennan, Clapper, and Comey on to undermine President
100%.
Trump.
100%. He had the bully pulpit too, because he was one of, they talk about the actors out in California, how the motion picture industry turned against President Trump. They all were in his they all loved him until he ran for president. They're such hypocrites. They're so far left. It's so disgusting, and they're so perverted. Their whole damn industry is a perversion. I'm sorry to say. And this guy sits up there on the bully pulpit telling people how to live their life. And let me ask you a question. President Trump raised a beautiful family. You have any drug addicts in his family? Well, it's funny that Biden attacked Trump. Biden's got a son that's a total crack addict. This guy, his son who killed him, has been on drugs since he's 15 years old. He's been 19 years on drugs.
I'm not going to hold that against. I'm not going to hold that against Rob Reiner because I've known. I don't have that issue, but I know a lot. Hold on, I know a lot of people that have. And one of the things about Rob Reiner's son that I saw yesterday was he'd been homeless a bunch of times. So Rob Reiner had cut him off financially many times and didn't work. But regardless of that, Donald Trump is pissed off at Rob Reiner because he was part of the team that was. And what the left would like to do is put Rob Reiner up on a pedestal so that they can use him to continue the coup against President Trump.
Yeah, and that's why they're attacking President Trump over this. And they're trying to say all these Republicans and MAGA are upset with his comment. I'm not upset, and I'm MAGA. I'm not upset. I'm not a big shot or anything like that. I'm the average guy. I know what Rob Reiner. By the way, his meathead role in the Archie Bunker is the same way he lived his life. Everybody, he was a leftist on that show. Total leftist in his life.
Well, a lot of people don't realize All in the Family was a very liberal show to make conservatives look like bigots, right? Archie Bunker was a conservative.
His father was the head. Carl Reiner was the producer of the show. His father.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm sorry he's dead. But I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry for what President Trump said. Thank God.
Well, what are you supposed to do if someone has spent over 10 years working with people? 12 years, exactly. Over 10 years working with people that have shot you, have gotten you arrested, were trying to put you in prison, were working on a coup against you in 2 presidential terms. What, are you supposed to go out and say beautiful things and eulogize them?
Well, yeah, you know what amazes me, Brian? Not for nothing. The average person that goes to a funeral of somebody, they say, "Oh, this guy died." Half their life they hated the person, and they were all back there saying how wonderful he is. They never say the guy was bad. I mean, enough is enough is enough. Not everybody that dies is not a perfect person.
Listen. I'll tell you a couple things about me. Okay, just about this. I'll tell you 2 stories. One. There was someone that Steve and I knew that died a little while ago, and Steve wanted me to go to the funeral with him, and I told him no. And Steve said, "Why?" And I said, I couldn't stand them. I could not stand them at all. They were a terrible person. And I'm not going to get into the details because some of you may know who this person is. They're a celebrity person. And Steve says, "Well, so what?" And I said, it'd be disrespectful to his family for me to go there. And I'm not going to go and honor someone that I hated because they were a terrible person.
Yeah.
There was I had a stalker that was stalking, really stalking me for years. I don't know if I've shared this on the air because this is not I felt bad about this, but I had a terrible stalker that had been involved in things with me, that there had been not just police investigations of this person, but federal investigations of this person. The stalking was so bad. I'm not going to get into the details of it, but it was really bad for many, many years, not just of me, but my whole family. And I found out they died during the lockdown period. And I hate to say it, I felt good that they were gone, and it was like a weight off my shoulder. I had another stalker. You know, when you're a public person, we all have stalkers. The ones that are really bad, you don't hear about. There was one person who harassed me and Steve for 30 years. Okay, 30 years harassed Steve Kane and me in many different ways. Steve even longer than me. They started harassing me over my association with Steve. They passed away, and I hate to say that. I'm not going to tell you who they are, but I felt good, and there was a weight. I told my wife, I said, there's a weight off my shoulders now with these two harassers and stalkers died.
You're honest.
And I felt bad about it, and I know the Bible tells us, you know, but when people are harassing you and doing things like Rob Reiner was doing with Clapper and Brennan and Comey against President Trump, they shot the man. They shot him, you know, in Butler, and they tried to do, you know, what's he supposed to feel?
No, he's supposed to be a politician and tell them what they want to hear rather than tell the truth. And that's why I voted for him, and that's why I would vote for him again if he ran again. He's the best thing that's happened in this country. And for these people all of a sudden to attack him over Rob Reiner, who I felt was a lifelong dirtbag, I disagree with everything that guy opened his mouth about. And that's just the way it is.
Well, I'm gonna give you guys a sneak preview. I talked to Steve last night, and he thinks Trump made a mistake. So we'll see what happens when he gets on the air today.
I'm going to call when Steve comes in, and I no mistake whatsoever. Steve, what are we going to go with the way the wind blows now? No, Trump doesn't do that. I'm sorry.
Listen.
Good morning,
I appreciate the call, Richie. When I found out what Rob Reiner was involved, I just thought he was some liberal jerk who didn't have any work and just went on TV to trash Trump. I didn't realize that he was working with these people until yesterday. Did you know that? But I promise you, President Trump knows that and a whole bunch more. If you're new to the program, make sure you subscribe, guys. And if you could take the link to the program and share it on your socials and invite your friends as well. The radio show is going to start in a few minutes. And we do take live calls. Let me see here. Yeah, we got a few minutes till we start. And if you'd like to call in, the number's pinned in the live chat. This is the pre-show, the pre-radio show portion. The number's toll-free, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. We'll take a quick break and be back. This past year has been one of the hardest in MyPillow's history. It's because of you they're making it through the year. They want to thank you for your continued support by passing on some Christmas specials to our listeners. Get the Children's Bible Story Pillow, the 5-pack, for just $29.98. Get the My Slippers with a free bottle of leather protectant spray for $39.98. Blankets, comforters, and duvets for as low as $25. And a blowout sale on the standard MyPillows for just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call 1-800-716-4879 and use the promo code KANE to take advantage of these wholesale prices, including the standard size MyPillow, originally $49.98, now just $14.98. Queens, $18.99. Kings, only $1 more. MyPillow products come with a 10-year warranty, but MyPillow has just announced they're extending their 60-day money-back guarantee. That's right. Orders placed between now and December 25th will have their 60-day money-back guarantee extended through March 1st, 2026. So go to MyPillow.com, use our promo code KANE at checkout, KANE, or call 1-800-716-4879. Promo code KANE for huge savings on your Christmas shopping. Yeah, and again, guys, please go to MyPillow.com, do your shopping. If I can lock, if we get a good performing month, I can lock Mike Lindell, the next next governor of Minnesota, into an entire year-long sponsorship of the early pre-show here on the program, which he's been doing for the past few months. The radio show is going to start in a couple of minutes, so I'm going to lead with, if you're on hold, stand by. I'm going to lead with the story on Rob Reiner and play President Trump in the Oval Office yesterday, and I'll read through his tweet. But I do want to hear your thoughts on my opening segment about Dan Bongino, because my guess would be that Dan Bongino, after the first couple of weeks, okay, not in the beginning, but if he were to return to his podcast, I think within a month he would do a transition and he would start being like Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? He's because I do believe that his return will be anticlimactic after the first week or two. You get that first euphoria. Oh, he's back. We get talk. But after he's there for a bit, it's going to be very anticlimactic, where people aren't going to be all that interested in him as they used to be. You know, now if he had been involved in a lot of high-profile lawfare arrest, that would be a whole nother deal, right? If he had been involved in kicking in doors like Tom Homan, if Tom Homan, if he was performing like Tom Homan and then returned to his podcast, he'd be the returning hero. But now he's going to be a disappointment to people. And the only thing he's going to be able to have to talk about, because he doesn't want to talk about his failures, he's going to want to distract, is to blame. Hold on one second. Just answering a couple messages here. Yeah, I get text messages really early in the morning, guys. Let's see. Okay. And we have about 30 seconds and the show will start, the radio show. We're already been on 40 minutes. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, all right? That early show went by quick, didn't it? Ooh, that coffee's awful. Welcome, everyone. It is Tuesday morning already. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. We have a lot to cover. There was a big story I did in the pre-show. Dan Bongino, it's being reported in multiple sources that Dan Bongino was cleaned out his desk and office at the FBI and is quitting. And we'll get into, I'll recap that story later. I did in the early show. Laura Loomer has come out with something big on the Brown University shooter who's still at large. And I'm going to get into that. But I want to start here in this hour with President Trump and Rob Reiner. And I'm going to start it just by I'm going to play President Trump's clip. This was in the Oval Office when he gave the medals out yesterday to the soldiers and Marines that are protecting our border. And this is him being asked about his post on Truth Social about Rob Reiner. So I'm going to play this of him responding to it, and then I'll go over the post and we'll talk about it.
A number of Republicans have denounced your statement on Truth Social after the murder of Rob Reiner. Do you stand by that post?
Well, I wasn't a fan of his at all. He was a deranged person as far as Trump is concerned. He said he knew it was false. In fact, it's the exact opposite, that I was a friend of Russia, controlled by Russia. You know, it was the Russia hoax. He was one of the people behind it. I think he hurt himself in career-wise. So he became like a deranged person, Trump derangement syndrome. So I was not a fan of Rob Reiner at all in any way, shape, or form. I thought he was very bad for our country.
Okay, so that was President Trump responding to a reporter in the Oval Office yesterday. Let me pull up the original post, and then I'll share my thoughts. President Trump, this was at 9:51 a.m. yesterday. And this has been let me tell you, the last 4 days, it's just been a week, just 4 days of death. I mean, you know, Anthony Geary, Rob Reiner and his wife, Brown, Australia, Syria. I mean, things are, whew. But President Trump yesterday morning at 9:51 a.m. posted this about Rob Reiner to Truth Social. A very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood. Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling, but once very talented movie director and comedy star, has passed away, together with his wife Michelle, reportedly due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS. He was known to have driven people crazy by his raging obsession of President Donald J. Trump, with his obvious paranoia reaching new heights as the Trump administration surpassed all goals and expectations of greatness, and with the golden age of America upon us, perhaps like never before. May Rob and Michelle rest in peace. Okay, and you guys know the story. It was a brutal murder. It was reported yesterday that Rob Reiner and his wife had their throats slit by the son, and who has a long history of drug issues. Okay, and immediately people started freaking out about Donald Trump. Not me, of course, not me, and not many other people. But what's going on here with this is you notice, you know what this is like? You know what this reminds me of with President Trump, this Rob Reiner, these Rob Reiner comments? And if you're on hold, stand by. I'll go back to the phones in a few minutes. It's like the John McCain, I like people who don't get captured comment, right? Now, if you remember, John McCain, big never Trumper, was always attacking Trump. And when President Trump said that McCain was criticizing him, and they asked him about McCain in an interview, and President Trump said, "I like people who don't get captured." And immediately, the never Trumpers, Republicans, the media, the Democrats, they jumped on him like white on rice. And they thought that was the end of Trump. And that was the first, I don't know, was that before or after Access Hollywood? But that I like people that don't get captured. They thought that was going to, how can you say this about a man who was a prisoner of war, and this is terrible, prisoners of war we put on pedestals and all this stuff. And then look what happened. We found out a lot of things about John McCain. Now, I met John McCain when I was about 21, 22 years old at the Republican convention. And I took a picture with him, and I wish I had it still. It was so long ago. I had it on. I took a picture. I bought a disposable camera. We didn't have iPhone. This was before the iPhone, of course. It was a long time ago. I bought a disposable camera at the convention center where the Republican convention was, and took a picture with him and other people. And you know how you take a picture with a guy, you put your arms on their shoulder. John McCain could only lift his arms like straight up. And he couldn't lift his arms up very high. And I was like, wow. And the story had always been told that his arms were that way because of torture. And when President Trump said, "I like people that don't get captured," the first thing was these immediate attacks. How dare you talk about a prisoner of war this way? And then a few days went by, and we started to get the truth about John McCain. His arms weren't in that condition because of torture. They were injured in the crash when he got shot down, and the VC didn't set his arms properly. And if you see the first film of John McCain, because he was a famous prisoner since his dad was an admiral, his arms are in cast in that box position that he was in for the rest of his life. And then we found out that he caused a fire on the aircraft carrier he was stationed on, almost sunk the carrier, and killed and burned sailors on that carrier, got away with that, and was allowed to continue to fly until he got captured. Then we found out that his wife, his first wife that he has children with as well, who stood by him while he was in the POW camp, he came back and met the rich heiress, and he left his wife and children for the rich heiress. He was not a nice guy. And all these things came out about John McCain. And then we found out he was part of the lawfare with Comey. Remember? Christopher Steele's fake dossier, that fake Russia dossier. He gave it to John McCain. John McCain gave it to Comey. Remember that? And put everything in motion. And then when he said, "I don't like people, I like people that don't get captured." When President Trump said, "I like people that don't get captured," the beginning of that it looked like it was going to be the end of his first campaign, remember? But in a very short time, John McCain was exposed as a complete fraud. He was a terrible person and a complete fraud. And that's what's now going on with the late Rob Reiner. We're finding out all kinds of things about Rob Reiner. I learned this yesterday because when this post dropped on True Social yesterday morning, 9 minutes before 10, of course, people are starting to go nuts. And I said to my wife, I said, well, obviously President Trump knows things about Rob Reiner that we don't know, but we will. And boy, do we ever. And in less than an hour, we started to learn that Rob Reiner wasn't just some liberal Hollywood guy who went on TV trashing the president, that he was in league with Clapper, Comey, and Brennan, and the rest from the first term until he died in this Obama-led coup that all of them have been involved trying to bring down President Trump for more than a decade. So yeah, he's got a beef with Rob Reiner, and it's all being exposed now. Now, if you're on hold, stand by. I'd very much like to hear your thoughts on this. I've got more to share. Your thoughts on Rob Reiner as well as the Bongino story that I had in the early show. The number is toll-free, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. I've got a great Christmas gift that you can give yourself or someone you love, and that's the gift of a pain-free life. If you are in pain, or someone you know or love is in pain, take them to go see Dr. Appleton. The consultation is free. Take them or take yourself if you're in pain. Sit down with Dr. Appleton during that free no-charge consultation. Tell him what your pains are, and Dr. Appleton will share with you how he can help rid you of pain with his laser-away pain treatment. Say bye-bye to your pain. Great Christmas gift, great New Year's gift, great Hanukkah gift. Arthritis, bronchial neuralgia, bursitis, hip pain, knee pain, lumbar pain, muscular contraction, sciatica, strains and sprains, tinnitus, tennis elbow, neck pain, stenosis, any pain I've ever heard of. I've met somebody in this audience who is living a life without that pain now, thanks to Dr. Appleton and his laser-away pain treatment. And remember, Dr. Appleton has rid me of pain 7 times, sometimes from injuries, one time from a car accident, arthritis, which is due to aging. And you know what? None of the pains he's rid me of, none of them have returned. Give Dr. Appleton a call. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. That's 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. We'll be right back. All right, guys, we'll take a quick break, all right?
In the rugged shadow of Idaho's Sawtooth Mountains, courage isn't just taught, it's earned. And in the book, The Ghost Deer, The Sawtooth Legacy, Book 1, author R.B. Mahler delivers an unforgettable, heart-pounding, values-driven adventure the whole family will love. In The Ghost Deer, meet 13-year-old Tater Thompson, a ranch kid with big dreams, a loyal blue healer named Bandit, and a heart still learning what real courage looks like. When Tater discovers a legendary ghost deer, a massive white buck with a mysterious past, his childhood collides with a challenge far greater than he ever imagined. Faced with bullies, harsh wilderness storms, wild animals, and the dangerous weight of fear, Tater begins a journey to become the kind of young man his family always believed he could be. Along the way, he learns powerful truths about integrity, perseverance, forgiveness, sacrifice, and relying on God, even when doing the right thing feels impossible. The Ghost Deer is filled with life lessons, solid values, strong father and family role models, as well as edge-of-your-seat suspense. The Ghost Deer is the perfect clean adventure for tweens, teens, and anyone who loves classic stories of grit, growth, and of never giving up. Start the Sawtooth Legacy today and order Book 1, The Ghost Deer, available on Amazon and Kindle, paperback, hardcover, audiobook, and free with Kindle Unlimited. Begin the journey, discover the legend, and step into a series that builds character with each page. The Ghost Deer, The Sawtooth Legacy, from author R.B. Mahler. Order your copy right now. This past year has been one of the hardest in MyPillow's history. It's because of you they're making it through the year. They want to thank you for your continued support by passing on some Christmas specials to our listeners. Get the Children's Bible Story Pillow, the 5-pack, for just $29.98. Get the My Slippers with a free bottle of leather protectant spray for $39.98. Blankets, comforters, and duvets for as low as $25. And a blowout sale on the standard MyPillows for just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call 1-800-716-4879 and use the promo code KANE to take advantage of these wholesale prices, including the standard size MyPillow, originally $49.98, now just $14.98. Queens, $18.99. Kings, only $1 more. MyPillow products come with a 10-year warranty, but MyPillow has just announced they're extending their 60-day money-back guarantee. That's right. Orders placed between now and December 25th will have their 60-day money-back guarantee extended through March 1st, 2026. So go to MyPillow.com, use our promo code KANE at checkout, KANE, or call 1-800-716-4879. Promo code KANE for huge savings on your Christmas shopping.
All right, we're still in break on the radio. I got to play this clip to make sure there's no profanity in it, and I'm going to play it on the radio.
Complete and utter lying buffoon.
I'm
going to tell you the truth. He's a fraud. He lies. He cheats people. Everything that comes out of his mouth virtually is a lie. And he's a con man. And if you look at what he's done with his career and how he's tricked people into things, it's abhorrent. I never liked George W. Bush, his policies, but I didn't hate the guy.
Oh.
I hate this man. I've never hated a politician. I can't not hate somebody who bilks innocent people out of money, life savings. And we've seen it. With that Trump University, he took people's money, $35,000, wiped these people out, and is being sued for it. He steals money from charities.
Okay, here we go. Okay, I'll play that when we get back. No profanities. We got about 20 seconds. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. So we're covering, these Rob Reiner comments that the president made. And I learned, I had no idea that Rob Reiner was working with Clapper, Brennan, Comey, and the others against Trump all these years. And they used him to get their agenda out because he's a famous celebrity. He could get on TV anytime he wanted and spread their message. And I promise you they were also using him for fundraising to fund their coups against President Trump. So Rob Reiner, what we've learned is he was part of that Obama operation that Obama's illegally had going on since President Trump was president-elect the first time. Here's a clip. This is Rob Reiner talking about the president.
Complete and utter lying buffoon. I'm going to tell you the truth. He's a fraud. He lies. He cheats people. Everything that comes out of his mouth virtually is a lie. And he's a con man. And if you look at what he's done with his career and how he's tricked people into things, it's abhorrent. I never liked George W. Bush, his policies, but I didn't hate the guy. I hate this man. I've never hated a politician. I can't not hate somebody who bilks innocent people out of money, life savings. And we've seen it. With that Trump University, he took people's money, $35,000, wiped these people out, and is being sued for it. He steals money from charities. I'm not making lead.
I don't know what charities he's talking about. I mean, is he supposed to feel good about Rob Reiner? And this thing about Trump University, you go to a school and that school's responsible for your success, and if not, somehow they owe you money? Right? I don't work in the profession that I have my degrees in. Do the colleges owe me refunds on my degrees? because I'm not working in the profession that they, that I earned the degree in, that they gave me the degree in from their institution? It's up to you to do it. So, no. Rob Reiner, what President Trump and his family have gone through with the lawfare people over the years are things that normal people like you and I cannot even begin to understand. And I didn't follow Rob Reiner too much because I don't care what celebrities say, and I would have if I knew he was in league with Comey Clapper and the rest. And it looks like the only time that Rob Reiner was in public in the last 10 years is if he was publicly trashing the president. And I want to pull this up. Somebody put together a collection of tweets that Rob Reiner posted about the president. I'm going to go through some of them. And what's the president supposed to think with this, okay? What's he supposed to think? I've got this new iPhone I still haven't gotten used to using. These are Rob Reiner tweets. After speaking with many government sources who indicate direct connections between Donald Trump and Putin, investigation must happen before Donald Trump's installed. That was his, when he was president-elect. See? He was already, this is December 16th, 2016. So here we have Rob Reiner in the early days, working with, by his own admission, government sources on the Russia hoax. And he became their celebrity spokesperson for it. Here's another tweet of Rob Reiner's. This is January 2017. When Fox News, when Fox says that Donald Trump is colluding with the enemy is not a crime, the fight to save democracy is an all-out war. U.S. stay strong. #treason. Here's another tweet. Wall Street Journal bombshell. First bit of concrete evidence of Trump/Russia collusion. All roads lead to Flynn. Fuse is long, but Donald Trump goes down. Okay, and these go on. I'll read some more. I don't think Rob Reiner wrote these tweets. I think these tweets were written for him. He may not have even posted them. They may have had access to post to his account. There's no fat thumb misspellings on any of these. They're all to form and well written, using lingo that a guy of his age wouldn't use. All in the Family with Rob Reiner debuted in 1970. He knew how to use technology like this and all the lingo, the social lingo. Give me a break. These tweets, to me, look like they were written by the Comey Clapper operation, undermining President Trump. He was part of the coup all along. There's more. There's a lot more. 2018, July 24th. The President of the United States is committing treason in plain sight. Russia has declared 21st century war on the U.S. They attacked and continue to attack. They've attacked our power grids. Our president refuses to defend us. He is aiding and abetting the enemy. Treason, all caps. Do you believe that Rob Reiner just organically on his own wrote these tweets? Or was he working for the coup conspirators against President Trump? Here's another tweet. 2019. In 2016, we discovered Putin helped Trump. Now, it's in plain sight. Unlimited lies and disinformation. Backing a vote, siphoning candidate. GOP, if you care about the survival of democracy, you know what to do. January 3rd, 2020. Here's where we are. These are all Rob Reiner tweets. Here's where we are. Putin backs up loans to Trump. Trump gives Putin, not U.S., a heads up on Iran attack. But judge allows farmers to share info with Congress. Time to get this MF out of here before we all have to learn Russian or get blown the F up. And he used the whole word. So we're going to go to a break here for the bottom of the hour. But I want to ask you this, as we do. Was Rob, we know Rob Reiner was working with them, but he was an active participant with the top leaders of the Clapper, Brennan, Comey, Peter Strzok, Obama coup conspiracy team against the president of the United States, and was at least since he was president-elect, which is when the operation started in the Oval Office meeting with Obama, with his national security team. So what is he supposed to do? Praise this man who was part of that team? If you're on hold, stand by. My name is Brian. This is The Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back. What do you guys think? What would you do if you were him?
This is George Colony. I'm in the real estate business in Fort Lauderdale, Florida with Kai's Real Estate. I've been in business for 6 decades. People often ask me, what's the right time to buy or sell real estate? To tell you the truth, it's always the right time. You just need to have the right advice from the right advisor. You could call me anytime because I answer my phone on the first ring. My number is 954-801-7320. That's my personal cell phone number. And I answer it on the first ring every time. Please give me a call. I'm happy to answer any question that you have. My cell phone number is 954-801-7320.
This is Mark Laporta, son of Tom Laporta and proud second-generation owner of Laporta Roofing. As a military veteran who served in the Army after 9/11, I've brought the same dedication and discipline to our family business. At Laporta Roofing, we've been serving our community for nearly 4 decades, and we're committed to continuing that legacy of excellence. Our team specializes in all types of roofing systems, from shingles to tile, slate, metal, and flat roofs. We're the go-to experts for single-family homes, HOA communities, and condo associations. What sets us apart is our unwavering commitment to customer satisfaction. I've personally implemented systems to ensure you receive the best in customer service and workmanship. Don't miss out on our limited time offer for a free roof inspection. Call us now at 954-604-4602 or visit us at laportaroofing.com. Trust the experts who have been protecting homes like yours for generations. Again, that number is 954-604-4602.
Do you want healthier chickens, stronger immunity, and rich golden yolked eggs without relying on chemicals? Of course you do, but how do you do it? And where do you even begin? That's easy with the new book from author Mary Butler, The Herbal Hen House, Nurturing Your Chickens with Nature's Remedies, available on Amazon. Author Mary Butler is a devoted chicken keeper and herbal enthusiast who brings more than a decade of hands-on experience straight to your coop. The Herbal Hen House is a warm, practical guide that shows you how to use safe, effective herbs to support digestion, boost immunity, and improve egg quality, as well as help prevent common flock problems naturally. When you read The Herbal Hen House, you'll discover easy, beginner-friendly herbal remedies, simple DIY blends that you can make at home, as well as clear guidance on what's safe, what to avoid, and how to care for chickens at every stage of life, from chicks to senior hens. Whether you're raising your very first flock or have been tending chickens for years, the Herbal Hen House gives you the confidence to ditch those harsh chemicals and raise healthier, happier chickens the natural way. The Herbal Hen House, Nurturing Your Chickens with Natural Remedies, from author Mary Butler, is available right now on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, and hardcover. Order your copy right now. Your chickens will thank you.
All right, we're in radio break for 1 more minute. I mean, look at this tweet of Rob Reiner's. Right, look at this. Come on. Is Trump not supposed to be angry at him? Supposed to say good things about this guy? Are you kidding? If you're on hold, stand by. If you'd like to call in, please do. The number is toll-free 888-465-2631. We'll be back in 30 seconds. If you'd like to call in, the number is pinned in the live chat. All right, we got about 20 seconds and we'll be back. 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. It's toll free no matter where you're tuned in from. Mm-hmm. All right. We are back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm Tim calling from Michigan.
Hey, Michigan. What's on your mind?
Well, you remember All in the Family, the character that he played was somewhat like a liberal progressive, the victimization. And Archie was like the moderate Democrat. But anyways, we know the government uses social media, the way they censored the doctors during COVID, all the conservative pundits. They use Hollywood to set their narratives. And he definitely went after Trump. Is he a full-blown Trump derangement syndrome guy? I think he is. He might have been, kind of coaxed to do what he did in the beginning. But he definitely went after Trump, and Trump never holds.
Okay, now I'll just share a couple things here. Your recollection of All in the Family is somewhat true. He played Meathead, who was a liberal loser, and Archie was a conservative. That's why he was a bigot, saying racial slurs all the time. He was a Republican, okay? They made Republicans look bad.
Was?
Yeah, I remember there was one episode of All in the Family.
Okay.
There was one episode of All in the Family where Archie writes a letter to President Ford about, I can't remember what it was about, but before he does it, let me put you on hold for a second. Before Archie writes the letter to President Ford, he puts his best suit on and then sits at the dining room table. He had to dress properly to write the president. That's why he was such a bigot, And I do remember one scene always stands out with Rob Reiner. There's this scene where Gloria is doing her hair. She puts hairspray on, and he has a freak out that the hole in the ozone layer is getting bigger because of Gloria's hairspray. He's always. But what we found out from Rob Reiner, Michigan, is what I was sharing in the last segment. He wasn't just some liberal has-been actor-director on television trashing Trump like Michael Moore. He was actively working with Comey, Clapper, Brennan, and the rest to bring Trump down. He was part of the coup. He was an active participant in the coup against President Trump that led to him getting shot, by the way, in Butler. So this is not just some guy running his mouth. He was part of the top people working for Obama for over 10 years to bring him down and put him in prison.
Listen, I agree. I've seen him on TV, and they're showing it on the news, what he said in the past. He does seem to be what you're saying. The Archie thing, I wasn't sure if he was a conservative. I grew up in Chicago. My mother worked for Mayor Daley, Jane Byrne, and we were, blue-collar Democrats.
No, everybody watched All in the Family, but remember, we only had 3 channels back then, right? So did we have a choice? And Norman Lear, who did All in the Family, hardcore liberal guy, okay? And hey, listen, I like Norman Lear. I like the Jeffersons. I liked All in the Family, Different Strokes, Facts of Life. I watched all that stuff. But Archie Bunker was saying racial slurs every episode, right? You think they'd have a liberal saying racial slurs every episode? I don't think so.
No, he was definitely, they always said that show was ahead of its time and the topics that it would take up.
Yeah.
One of my favorite was Barney Miller. I love Barney Miller.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, we got to move on. I appreciate the call. Here's another tweet of Rob Reiner. Okay, listen to this. Until Trump goes to prison, this is from January 20th, 2023, right? Until Trump goes to prison, I will no longer be posting on Twitter. I've had it with the insults and put-downs. F all of you MAGA a-holes. Now, he uses the whole words there, okay? And obviously, Rob Reiner was the spokesperson, or one of them, for the coup conspirators. And, a lot of people, unless you were there, and maybe even people that were, I think people forget how big Rob Reiner was of a celebrity. And back when All in the Family was on television, we only had 3 channels plus the UHF, which was PBS, okay? And so the highest rated shows on television today, the highest rated shows, have lower ratings than the lowest rated shows back in the 70s, okay? And these were events that people experienced. Rob Reiner, and he had some big hit movies. My favorite movie of Rob Reiner is A Few Good Men, right? Most of his movies aren't my thing. I liked Misery, A Few Good Men, Stand By Me, different generation, Spinal Tap, I've never seen Spinal Tap completely from beginning to end in one sitting. I've seen clips of it over the years. But, the thing with Rob Reiner, he is a lifelong Democrat, as was his father. Not only was he a part of this team, you hear about influencers. They use influencers to get messaging out. Rob Reiner was an influencer for his generation. And he was a big part of this operation, this lawfare. And this is all things that I learned yesterday. I always tuned him out. If there was a soundbite of him on MSNBC or CNN, I don't have any memories of playing them. I played one yesterday of him saying nice things about Charlie Kirk after the assassination. But I never paid attention because I don't pay attention to what celebrities say anymore. I used to when I was younger. And I learned yesterday after President Trump, after the controversy started, that Rob Reiner, I thought he was just like Michael Moore, some overweight has-been director who had nothing to do, so he went on TV to trash Trump. And then I learned yesterday that he was part of the coup conspiracy. Here he is on CNN. Listen to this.
It occurred to me that, we've heard this cliche our whole lives. When our country is attacked, politics stops at the water's edge. This is the first time that didn't happen. And I started to think, I don't know that the public understands the gravity of what the Russians were able to do and continue to do here in the United States. They've attacked us. They are trying to undermine our democracy.
Now, he's on here. He's on CNN because Rob Reiner has just formed this organization. He's an advisory board member of the Committee to Investigate Russia, of which James Clapper is a part of, okay?
It occurred to me that, we've heard this cliche our whole lives. When our country is attacked, politics stops at the water's edge. This is the first time that didn't happen. And I started to think, I don't know that the public understands the gravity of what the Russians were able to do and continue to do here in the United States. They've attacked us. They are trying to undermine our democracy. And for some reason, we are not understanding the gravity of this. And I think a big part of that is because the President of the United States is not saying, in the Oval Office, my fellow Americans, we've been attacked. And so I started reaching out to, people who are patriots and
Comey, Clapper, other never-Trumpers.
Not necessarily of my political stripe to say we're all together in this. Our country is attacked. Democracy is on the brink to if we're going to survive, we need to come together as Americans and understand what happened.
Yeah. And he is on this. Now, listen to this. He is on this program on CNN because they've just formed the Committee to Investigate Russia. And this is the board, and he's on here promoting the Committee to Investigate Russia. Rob Reiner is a member of the advisory board. Here's who else is on the advisory board. James Clapper. Okay, you all know him. He was in that infamous meeting. There's a bunch of people. Just share a couple names. General Michael Hayden, who was former director of the CIA. Leon Panetta, okay, and others. So, Leon Panetta, can you imagine? So this is who he was working with. He was part of the Russian, a whole campaign to bring down President Trump. Okay, he was working with the deep state, knowingly working for the deep state. He called them patriots to bring down Trump as part of the big Russia hoax. So no, I'm sorry. This is maybe something we're not normally dealing with, but now here we are. The next day, we're seeing what Rob Reiner really was doing. Right? If you're on hold, hang in there. Let me see. Let me take a call or two before the break. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Texas from Texas.
Speak up, Texas.
Rob Reiner's dead already. I don't know. Just get over it. Shut the fuck up.
Okay. Yes. All right. I was talking with my mother over the weekend, and, my mother is fully retired. This year is her first year being fully retired. She's 74 years old. And I was talking to her about her taxes. I said, Mom, what are you doing about your taxes? She says, what do you mean? What about my taxes? I don't work anymore, And I said, yeah, but there's the taxes for seniors has completely changed. She says, really? I said, yeah. She says, what happened? And I said, you're getting a massive deduction this year. It's like $6,000. And there's all kinds of other tax benefits for retired seniors receiving Social Security benefits because of the Trump Big Beautiful Bill. I said, you need to call Jamie Levac over at Swift Tax. If you have never used an accountant because you think you didn't need one, well, first off, you're paying taxes you don't need to pay, because you need a tax professional who will get you all the deductions you're entitled to. And those of you that are retired and receiving Social Security, like my mother, call Jamie Levac, okay? Have him do your taxes for you. I'm sending my mom over there. And let me tell you, she's going to get a good solid return because of that big deduction, and that's going to come in handy for her not long after the first of the year. But if you have an accountant and you think you've been paying too much in taxes, give Jamie Levac at Swift Tax a call. In fact, a friend of mine is doing just that this week. Someone I know, they're going to have Jamie Levac not only do their taxes for this year, but look over the past couple of years to find out if that accountant that told them they owed all this money and to the IRS, if they did their taxes properly. They're going to look back. And if they didn't, they're going to file an amendment and amend their taxes, which is a great thing. They may not owe these back taxes that they think they owe. If you're a tip worker or someone who earns overtime, call Jamie Levac at Swift Tax. Get these tax cuts that President Trump gave you from the Big Beautiful Bill. The entire tax code has changed. If you work in the gig economy, like a Uber or Lyft driver, DoorDash, Uber Eats, any of those types, or any of the other types of professions like that, call Jamie Levac at Swift Tax. He has an expertise in these things. He has a lot of clients who are Uber, Lyft drivers, DoorDash drivers, and work in these other types of services. He knows how to get you all the tax deductions you are entitled to. Here's his number. Give him a call. This number rings directly to Jamie Levac at Swift Tax, 954-773-1587. 954-773-1587. That's 954-773-1587. If you're on hold, stand by. It's the Steve Kane Show. My name is Brian Craig. We'll take a quick break and be right back.
Do you ever wish you could step back into the greatest decade of all time, the 80s? You're not alone. That's when members-only jackets made you cool, parachute pants swished with every move, when leg warmers, big hair, and neon ruled, and your Walkman, Atari 2600, and Rubik's Cube were your most prized possessions? If you missed the A-Team, Knight Rider, breakdancing, hair metal, arcades, and that unmistakable new wave sound, You're not alone. Welcome to WeLoveThe80s.com, the community built by people who still believe the 80s were hands down the most iconic decade ever. At WeLoveThe80s.com, they celebrate everything that made the 80s unforgettable. The music, the movies, the fashion, the video games, the attitude, and of course, the memories that shaped a generation. If the 80s live in your heart, relive them with WeLoveThe80s.com. That's WeLoveTheEIGHTIES.com. Go right now to WeLoveThe80s.com and take your place among the totally awesome. This past year has been one of the hardest in MyPillow's history. It's because of you they're making it through the year. They want to thank you for your continued support by passing on some Christmas specials to our listeners. Get the Children's Bible Story Pillow, the 5-pack, for just $29.98. Get the My Slippers with a free bottle of leather protectant spray for $39.98. Blankets, comforters, and duvets for as low as $25. And a blowout sale on the standard MyPillows for just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call 1-800-716-4879 and use the promo code KANE to take advantage of these wholesale prices, including the standard size MyPillow, originally $49.98, now just $14.98. Queens, $18.99. Kings, only $1 more. MyPillow products come with a 10-year warranty, but MyPillow has just announced they're extending their 60-day money-back guarantee. That's right. Orders placed between now and December 25th will have their 60-day money-back guarantee extended through March 1st, 2026. So go to MyPillow.com, use our promo code KANE at checkout, KANE, or call 1-800-716-4879. Promo code KANE for huge savings on your Christmas shopping.
All right, we are less than a minute away from returning on the radio. We're still in a radio station break. If you're on hold, stand by. I'm going to go to the phones right after the break. Got to check something here. Hold on. Oh, man, the show's flying by. We've already been on 90 minutes, almost. If you're new, make sure you subscribe, guys. All right, we're back. It's the Steve Kane Show. My name's Brian. We're talking about Rob Reiner and Trump and what Rob Reiner was really up to all these years. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Momer. Hello?
Yeah, speak up.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah? Ugh.
Yeah. I was calling to ask you, why would Trump say that Rob Reiner was killed because of Trump derangement syndrome? That's the part that's rubbing people, in the wrong way.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that part of it, but I do know this, that if someone had spent 12 years working with people that were trying to put you in prison, getting you arrested, and getting you shot, would you have something good to say about them when they passed away?
And that's the other thing. You think that Rob Reiner was working with James Comey?
Yes, we know this. Yes, we know this. Yeah. No, we know this. I shared before the break, he was with this committee to investigate Russia. The leader of it was Clapper, who was working with Comey. He was the national security advisor for Obama, Clapper. Yeah, and Leon Panetta, who was White House chief of staff. They were all, yes, he was working with them. Absolutely. That's the proof.
The clip that I saw you play was him saying that he got with other concerned.
Well, no, I posted, I went through the list of the people in that organization, and the coup conspirators, some of them were there.
Mean he was working with them.
Yes, it does. He was he formed an organization with them called the Committee to Investigate Russia in Trump's first term. That is proof that he was working with them.
And then another thing with the Russian thing, Marco.
Notice,
Rubio,
you know what it is with liberals. Excuse me, I'm speaking. You know what it is with liberals? They ask you a question. Excuse me for speaking while you're interrupting. You see what liberals do? They ask a question, right? You answer it. They don't like the answer, so they just move on to another question. Deal with what I said. He formed this organization.
You answered the question. What am I supposed to do? Harbor on your answer?
Yeah, you're supposed to respond to it. Take care. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, how you doing?
I'm doing. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Michael in Boca. So, talking about this Rob Reiner thing, when I first saw the, by the way, you know me for a long time since FTL, I'm MAGA all the way. But when I did see the Trump response, I did wince for a moment. But then I thought about it, and I thought to myself, everybody on the left has trashed Trump with the most vile words and things said. This guy has every right to be pissed off and say whatever the hell he wants.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know what, you cannot be taken out of office because of disliking somebody. Even when it comes to this situation, he did have at least rest in peace. He did have a kind thought to close. But it's very clear, and I understand. I would be pissed too at somebody.
Well, see, what I've been sharing on the program today is that Rob Reiner was not just some fat slob has-been director like Michael Moore going on television trashing Trump, that he was directly working with the deep state to bring down President Trump. In fact, he's been doing it from the earliest days 12 years ago, and I've been documenting that all morning here on the program. And I'm starting to want, Rob Reiner, his son that murdered him and his wife lived in the guest house. I'm starting to wonder,
right,
in an era, when's the last time Rob Reiner made a movie anybody saw?
Gosh, I don't even know.
Exactly. And Harry Met Sally, oh my goodness, is that 88? What is that? A Few Good Men, 1990, Misery, 1990,
right.
But 92 might have been A Few Good Men. So how is a guy affording a mansion and a guest house and this big... I wonder if he was making money off of this collusion that he was doing. I wonder if this is how he was supporting himself with this Trump trashing, right? I'm wondering. I don't know. What do you think? It's possible.
That would not surprise me in the least. As a matter of fact, I think all of Hollywood, whenever there's a narrative to go with, they all jump on board. They know that, look, Pelosi said the playbook. You put the lie out there. Everybody goes with it. Now you got to prove that they're lying.
Yeah.
It's wrong. It's wrong.
Yeah. I know you from back in FTL. Were you a caller back at FTL?
No, you know what? I met you and Steve back then because I was friends with Craig Worthing. I used to bring my keyboard in. He'd bring me in to play on the show. I don't know if you remember me then.
I remember a guy with I do remember a guy with a keyboard, but it's been a long time. It's been 30 years, man.
You as I was walking in.
Oh, really?
I know it's amazing. But I used to walk in. I'd see you walking out, and it was pretty cool.
Well, I hope I was nice to you.
You're always nice.
There we go. All right. Thank you very much. All right. Take care. All right. Bye bye. All right. The thing is, oh my goodness. I've had run-ins with celebrities that were rude to me, and I never get over it. Dick Clark was one. Dick Clark was so nasty to me. I met Dick Clark was so nasty. I've never gotten over it. And of course, the Loretta Swit story, which I'm not going to tell again. But anyway, all right, back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. This is Bill from Sanford.
Hey, Bill, what's up?
I'm sorry, I have to disagree with you. I think that that was not presidential, and I agree with what O'Reilly says all the time. You don't justify bad behavior with bad behavior. And I think Trump I think he screwed up.
Okay, let me ask you. Okay, hold on a second here. This isn't just bad behavior. We're finding out that Rob Reiner was working with the coup conspiracy team that Obama illegally put in place. Clapper and the rest.
I'm not just.
So that's different.
I don't disagree with that. I think you're right on that. But at the same time, he did say nice things about Erica Kurt and how bad it was Charlie got killed.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
So I mean, that doesn't.
Listen, Richie the bus driver. Richie the bus driver called in earlier, and I told him of a couple instances with me. Okay, I had a stalker that had been stalking and harassing me and my family for years. Okay, a listener. And there had been police investigations and federal law enforcement investigations of this individual. They harassed me and my family so bad. It was really bad, okay? And they died during the pandemic. And I found that out, and I was relieved. Okay? Was I a bad person? Because I felt good because they couldn't harass me and my family anymore, or was I a terrible person? By the way, they harassed me and stalked me and my daughter and my wife for years. So when I felt good and relieved when they died, am I a bad person?
Well, no, absolutely not. But the thing is...
Well, that's what happened with Trump. This guy had been harassing him with people that were arresting him and trying to put him in prison and shooting him and everything. There was someone whose name I'm not going to mention because they're a known personality. There was someone that had caused me more grief. I mean, I'm talking some serious grief for years. It was for years. Until they died, almost up until they died. Another person. You know, when you're a public person, you got weirdos out there. And I felt relief and good when they were no longer here because these two people couldn't harass me or my family anymore. You know?
Yeah, but they died because of COVID.
No, not the second one. Not the second one. So what's different between those people with me and President Trump and Rob Reiner?
Rob Reiner was murdered, and Trump knows about murder because of Corey and Butler. He's seen murder.
If
and
someone
these people were murdered,
really,
they were murdered.
Mm-hmm.
So
what?
I'm not MAGA anymore. I'm still MAGA.
Both of these people I told you about, one of them is a known person, okay, a well-known person. The other one was a regular listener. And when people spend years harassing you and your family and trying to do harm to you and your family, where you're dealing with things, and they pass away, the reason people think it's bad with Rob Reiner is because you like Stand By Me or All in the Family. We all grew up and know him. Listen, I'm out of time for the hour. But Steve Kane agrees with you. So when Steve joins us, we'll get the other side. All right, take care. All right, it's 7 a.m., the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig, back after this.
How would you like to make your child's Christmas unforgettable? You can do just that with Santa Voice. With Santa Voice, you generate a personal message from Santa. It's fast, fun, and magical. Just search Santa Voice in the App Store. That's Santa Voice in the App Store. Peptide research is exploding, and GLP-1 is leading the charge. Across the country, researchers are exploring metabolic, regenerative, and cellular repair models like never before. At MyPurePeptide.com, based in Dallas, Texas, they supply high-purity, lab-verified peptides for controlled research environments. Whether your work involves GLP-1 metabolic studies tied to weight and energy balance, cellular health and modulation models, or tissue repair pathways, MyPurePeptide.com is committed to supporting your research with clarity and consistency. Visit MyPurePeptide.com and use code DALLAS to save 25% on your order. For research use only. MyPurePeptide.com.
On the line, we have one of our listeners.
This past year has been one of the hardest in MyPillow's history. It's because of you they're making it through the year. They want to thank you for your continued support by passing on some Christmas specials to our listeners. Get the Children's Bible Story Pillow, the 5-pack, for just $29.98. Get the My Slippers with a free bottle of leather protectant spray for $39.98. Blankets, comforters, and duvets for as low as $25. And a blowout sale on the standard MyPillows for just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call 1-800-716-4879 and use the promo code KANE to take advantage of these wholesale prices, including the standard size MyPillow, originally $49.98, now just $14.98. Queens, $18.99. Kings, only $1 more. MyPillow products come with a 10-year warranty, but MyPillow has just announced they're extending their 60-day money-back guarantee. That's right. Orders placed between now and December 25th will have their 60-day money-back guarantee extended through March 1st, 2026. So go to MyPillow.com, use our promo code KANE at checkout, KANE, or call 1-800-716-4879. Promo code KANE for huge savings on your Christmas shopping.
All right, we're still in radio break. Hold on, let me check the time here. Okay, we have 2 minutes and we'll be back. If you're on hold, stand by. Hold on. Okay. About a minute and we'll be back. I'll go back to the phones. If you'd like to call in, the number is pinned in the live chat. I'm just getting organized for this hour. There we go. All right. 30 seconds, guys. I need a drink. I have to wait until the break. All right, the 7 o'clock hour has begun. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. We're talking about this Rob Reiner post-mortem feud with Trump. We're learning a lot on the program today. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, good morning, Brian. It's Danielle calling from Michigan. I just have a really quick comment.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning to you. Great show.
Thank you.
You know, it is what it is. I mean, people are allowed to say what they feel and what they want to say. The end of the line, he said, you know, rest in peace. It is what it is. I'm more concerned about other major issues, to be quite honest. Was this a good person? You know, it didn't seem like he was. I used to watch him back in the day with All in the Family, loved it, but never followed him after that. It's a tragic story, but get over it, everybody. I mean, you know, he put a tweet out. He said, you know, he said what he said. Get over it.
Yeah.
He said rest in peace.
Exactly.
And we got to move on. I mean, I tell you what, I'm more concerned about other things, to be really honest. It is a tragedy. I'm sure that he didn't want him to die. I mean, he said what he said, and he's allowed to say. He's a person. He's a human being.
Yeah.
And look what they've tried.
Well, let me ask you. You know, because I listen. Yeah. As I said, I did not know this until yesterday. I did not realize that he was working with Clapper and the others officially. like he had been doing
Yeah,
since
I don't
President
either.
since
I
President Trump was president-elect the first time. So he was part of this lawfare coup. And look at everything they've done to the president. What's the president supposed to think and say? Is he supposed to lie to us? You know?
He's a human being, just like you and I. We're just all humans, and he can say what he people just need to kind of get over it already. I mean, he said rest in peace. It's a tragic situation, but you know what? He's entitled to say what he's going to say.
Well, it's America. We all have the First Amendment. Words have, but like I just got a notification on my phone from The Hill. The Hill's a very good political magazine, and they just sent me a notification of a news story. Cracks in Trump's GOP widen over Reiner comments. Are you kidding me? No one in MAGA is going to stop supporting President Trump because of Rob Reiner comments.
I agree, but you know what? To every MAGA that's listening right now and to everybody that's listening, listen, there's so many other things that we need to really be focused on and stay.
Yeah, but this is what, listen, there are, but what if I talk, we got to talk about it because, hey, listen, I appreciate the call. I understand what she's saying, and I got a lot of other things I'm going to cover. I began the show with this Dan Bongino quitting the FBI. If you missed that, go back and listen to it. Some big things are happening there. And I got some other stories I'm going to get to as the show goes on. And then when Steve joins us, Steve is on the opposite side. He thinks that Trump may have made a mistake. Now that was last night. I talked to Steve last night around 6:30. So maybe he's seen some of this. But Rob Reiner not only was active, he was basically the official spokesperson for the lawfare people for 12 years against President Trump. And as I said to the caller right before the top of the hour, I'm wondering if that's how he's been supporting himself doing this these years. We know that they pay these celebrities to do all this stuff. I'm very curious as if Rob Reiner was making his living with this, working with Clapper and the rest. There are no residuals anymore. The streaming has broken the residual system. Hollywood is filled with struggling actors, producers, and directors that were living off of residuals that they don't get anymore. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Joellen from Fort Lauderdale.
Hey, Joellen.
Hey there. I just have heard what Trump said about Reiner. I don't know. I didn't hear exactly what he said, but I'm sure that Rob Reiner, and the other people, if Trump were murdered, they'd be dancing in the streets and saying all kinds of stuff about him. So it's a two-way street.
Well, we know that. Oh, that's not speculation. We know how they behaved when Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Remember when Trump got COVID the first time? They were, So we've seen how they've reacted.
Right. So the other thing is a lot. And I'll guarantee you my sister is going to be saying this when I talk to her today. She's going to say, it's not presidential. He shouldn't have been saying it. And so to the people that don't understand the background and what Reiner was involved in, they're not going to understand, or even if they do know it, it may not make a difference. But, without saying the story and the background, people are just going to have that same attitude.
Well, we don't have celebrities anymore like we used to. But Rob Reiner was a celebrity. And a lot of people, like the guy from Sanford, who's a regular caller at the top, we all have grown up. I don't know. There's not a time, All in the Family went on the air in 1970. I was born in 1971. And when I was a little kid, All in the Family was still on television in first run. It was huge. It was on reruns every hour of every day. So I don't have a moment in my life where Rob Reiner wasn't there. I remember, so I get it. But when I found out that he's working with Clapper and Leon Panetta in the lawfare against President Trump and has been doing it since he was president-elect the first time, now I understand.
Yes. So I think if that got out, I mean, not that he has to defend it, but I think it's good to know why he was just saying that. It wasn't because he was, just didn't like the guy, because Reiner was talking bad about him.
Exactly.
But,
It wasn't listen, it wasn't, Rosie O'Donnell just runs her mouth. Michael Moore just runs his mouth. This was different. I did not know this. I found this out yesterday throughout the day as things came out about Rob Reiner. This just popped in my mind on the show. I'm thinking that this is how he was making a living. This was his.
Yeah, very well could have been.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, Joe Ellen. Appreciate the call.
Okay.
All right. Now, before we get back to this, because this is big, I just want to mention this has been a weekend of death. Anthony Geary passed away, and from General Hospital, the Luke and Laura era, and the phenomena of Luke and Laura in General Hospital was huge, like All in the Family. People, I'm not going to go through all that Luke and Laura era. I was a little kid, but it was a big deal. But all this talk with Anthony Geary, there's one thing they leave out. The Luke and we keep 30 million people watched the Luke and Laura wedding on daytime television, the highest rated daytime television event ever. You're hearing this a lot, and they had this decades long love affair, Luke and Laura. Do you know how they met on General Hospital? Do you know what happened? Does anyone know? They're not mentioning it in any of the news stories. I'm going to tell you, okay? Luke and Laura became an item. Luke raped Laura, raped her on General Hospital. And then something happened where they were both popular, so they turned it into a love story. And they got married and had a 30-year love story on General Hospital, Luke and Laura. But it began with him raping her. And my recollection is that Luke raped Laura at the disco that was owned by Richard Simmons, is my recollection. But they're leaving that part out of all these memorials. Yeah, Luke raped Laura. And isn't this crazy? And Jeannie Francis, who's married to Jonathan Frakes, who plays Commander Riker on Star Trek The Next Generation, she was a teenager, and he was a man at the time. As an actor, she was a teenager at the time. Isn't that crazy? I know, and that's how it was a violent rape. I know, it's crazy. Look at the time. It's time to break. Oh, let me talk about Joe Thomas, Jupiter Joe Thomas. Jupiter Joe Thomas. He was in studio on Friday. And we were talking about the interest rates dropping. We're all excited about the interest rates dropping for good reason, right? But Joe Thomas was telling me, and he can give you the expert thoughts on this, okay? I'm not the financial advisor. He is, and he'll tell. But many of the investment vehicles that you all are using, and I'm not going to go through the list. I know one of them CDs because I don't want to be wrong, but many of these things that you have your money in are doing very well right now because of the high interest rates. And when the interest rates drop, they're not going to be as valuable. So, that old saying when it comes to investments, buy low and sell high? For those types of investments, the sell high moment is now. It's time to turn those things at the peak into annuities. Call Joe Thomas. Take advantage of the no-charge consultation, which you can take advantage of no matter where you're located. You can do it over the phone, on Zoom, or in person at his office, and he'll go through which one of these investment vehicles are doing very well right now because of high interest rates, and there'll be a big turn when interest rates drop. Okay, here's his number, 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. That's 561-743-0999. And online, jupiterjoe.com. Call us on hold, stand by. We'll be right back. That's true with Luke and Laura, that it started with that. Isn't that crazy? Things have changed. It's a different world now that we're in. That kind of thing would not be allowed anymore. Nope. I know, they're not mentioning that. Okay, hold on, guys. Hold on. Okay. Sorry, just getting organized here during the break. Let's see. Okay. We'll be back shortly. If you're on hold, stand by. I'll go to the phones when we get back.
This is Mark Laporta, son of Tom Laporta and proud second-generation owner of Laporta Roofing. As a military veteran who served in the Army after 9/11, I've brought the same dedication and discipline to our family business. At Laporta Roofing, we've been serving our community for nearly 4 decades, and we're committed to continuing that legacy of excellence. Our team specializes in all types of roofing systems, from shingles to tile, slate, metal, and flat roofs. We're the go-to experts for single-family homes, HOA communities, and condo associations. What sets us apart is our unwavering commitment to customer satisfaction. I've personally implemented systems to ensure you receive the best in customer service and workmanship. Don't miss out on our limited time offer for a free roof inspection. Call us now at 954-604-4602 or visit us at laportaroofing.com. Trust the experts who have been protecting homes like yours for generations. Again, that number is 954-604-4602.
All right, I'll be back. I got to get something to drink, guys. This coffee is awful. Be right back. Okay, we got about 30 seconds. If you're on hold, stand by. I'm going to go to the phones when we get back. Oh, yeah. They're all... Tristan Rogers is dead. The actress that played Bobby's dead. They're all dead. That's what happens when you go older. Get older. Everybody starts dying. All right, stand by. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. We're talking about the Rob Reiner Trump post-mortem feud that Trump's had. And let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yeah, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not used to this new phone connection. Anyway, this tweet that Trump posted was, in my opinion, just another media trap.
Yeah.
To get them talking about him, like you explained about John Kane exposing, the facts about him. This is just a way to expose more of the deep state.
Yes.
He's always exposing somebody or something, but the media won't pay attention to it because they don't want to be exposed. They don't want the left to be exposed or the deep state.
Yeah, and, it's part of the exposing the Russia.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And the other thing about what's his name? Gosh, Reiner.
Rob Reiner.
He's an actor.
Well, he used to be.
He's an actor.
Yeah.
And he, that speech that you played yesterday, where he was speaking very kindly about
Charlie,
the assassination. Yeah, and he's a good actor. He's just and as you said, he needs the money maybe.
Well, this is something.
So it's just another job.
Yeah, there's something we've learned a lot about Rob. I had no idea that Rob Reiner had been working with these deep state people since Trump was president-elect. Okay, I just thought he was another Rosie O'Donnell, Michael Moore type on TV trash. I had no idea until yesterday. Okay, but this is something I've talked about over the last year. Hollywood. I realized this. In my. I have my podcast and everything, right? Which is ranked 150th in America, which I'm very proud of because there's 10 million podcasts on Spotify and Apple Podcast alone. And to be 150th is a pretty big deal without any corporate backing or marketing. And I'm not a movie star or, or Fox News star or something. So that's pretty good. But, but here's the thing. Hollywood has shut down. Okay. And with the streaming, all the shows are on streaming. There's no residuals anymore. Actors no longer get residuals. So what's happened is a lot of Hollywood producers, directors, and actors are broke. They live expensive lifestyles, and they're doing things you wouldn't believe. Almost every actor out there, the reason I mentioned podcasting, because I know a lot about that field since I have a podcast. Hollywood is now a podcasting town where they're all doing podcasts out there now because they need the work. And the sound stages have been turned into podcasting studios in Los Angeles. So Rob Reiner, when is the last time Rob Reiner made a movie that anybody wanted to see?
Yeah, exactly.
So
to your point, even Rosie O'Donnell and Michael Moore knocking Trump, it's just a way to attract attention to themselves.
Well, Rob Reiner, we learned through USAID and this deep state obsession with keeping the cartels in business, like they have some financial interest in it, makes you think. I'm wondering if Rob Reiner had been paying for his family and his lifestyle and earning a living for the past 12 years, trashing Trump and working with Clapper and Leon Panetta and the rest, right? And they can do that by setting him up with speaking engagements and appearances and such. You can make a lot of money. If you go to, I used to go when I was younger to like science fiction autograph conventions like Comic-Con and stuff, and I used to even actually work at them as an MC and things. If you go to those conventions now, there are big movie stars there because they're not getting residuals anymore. They're not getting residuals anymore, so they're broke.
Yeah, it used to be retired actors and people you
third-rate people.
Forgotten about
now you're getting A-listers.
You're
getting A-listers now because there's no residuals anymore, and that goes for someone like Rob Reiner with his films. So I'm telling you, I would not be surprised if it comes out that he was getting paid to do all this.
Oh, I definitely. And I don't even think that a lot of these people are very sincere about who they like or, their TDS and et cetera. But breaking news. My husband just told me that Rob Reiner was financing his son's sex change.
I've heard something about that. I don't know the details about that. I've heard a couple people say that, but I haven't seen it reported in a mainstream thing yet. So I got enough stuff that's real not to get distracted into that until it's reported somewhere. All right, appreciate the call. Yeah, I did. I heard that actually yesterday. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? All right, they gave up. The rest of you on hold, stand by. We'll go back to the phones after the bottom of the hour break. I want to make a couple other things here. Laura Loomer did some really good analysis. Have you seen the new video of the Brown shooter that's on the run? They have him walking down a sidewalk, and he's wearing a mask, a COVID mask and everything else. And when he's walking down the side, Laura Loomer pointed this out, and I thought this was amazing analysis. He's walking and standing with his hands behind his back, and she says that is a common thing that Muslim men in the Muslim world do, that this walking with the hands behind the back is another indication that the Brown University shooter in Providence is Muslim. Have you seen this video? Pretty good analysis on her part. Another great Christmas gift, guys. Plenty of time still. New tires from Friendly Tire. There is no one in your family that would not love 4 brand new tires for their car. Your kids, your parents, your mom, your dad. Believe me, they would love brand new tires on their car. And as low as $75 a tire out the door and on the road, you can get all 4 tires for the recipient for a really good deal. It's a great gift. They'll love it. They'll be so excited. And it's a really meaningful gift. The gift of new tires, oh, man. You know, Friendly Tire and Margate, when I say $75 a tire, brand new, that's right. You can get brand new tires for as low as $75 a tire out the door and on the road. Now, I want to tell you a couple things. $75, as low as $75 new tires out the door and on the road. Those are for common sizes that are on some of the most popular vehicles on the road today. Okay, these aren't Fiat tires. These are for common sizes on some of the most common vehicles on the road. And of course, that price is out the door and on the road, meaning he doesn't charge you to mount, balance, or dispose of your old tires. New tires, as low as $75 a tire, out the door and on the road. Also at Friendly Tire, he has good used tires as low as $35 a tire, out the door and on the road. So give Friendly Mike a call. Call him right now. He'll give you a quote over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. That's 954-977-9445. We'll be back right after this. On the line, we have one of our listeners, Jeff. He heard me talking with George Colony recently, our real estate guy here on the program, about how he can turn renters into property owners. And he gave George Colony a call, and they met. Hey, Jeff, how you doing?
Hey, Brian, thank you so much.
Yeah, so tell me what prompted you to call George Colony, and then tell me how the meeting went.
I've been looking forever for a property to buy, and I've had all kinds of issues come up, and I really needed someone who had that professional experience to help me overcome all the different issues that are likely when you're trying to buy a house. And so I went to meet him, and I was totally impressed with his brain power and his ability to solve problems. He gave me lots of good ideas to help get me through into a house and become an owner. Real estate can be a hardy headache for sellers. It's really a complicated process, and you really need someone who's an expert and a problem solver. So if you're selling your house, you need to know the agent that you can trust and that he has the brain power to figure out the problems that typically arise in every settlement. And I met George Colony myself. I personally interviewed him. He's really good at helping buyers and sellers. He's going to help me buy a house, so I'm really excited to highly recommend him for all the listeners of the show. He gave me 2 great projects to get myself into a house and become an owner as opposed to just a renter.
That's absolutely amazing, Jeff. And, you know, George Colony can turn you who are renters into owners. And you know what? He can do it with you paying less every month than you're paying in rent. Give George Colony a call. This number rings directly to his cell phone, so you could call or text just like Jeff did. 954-801-7320. That's 954-801-7320.
This past year has been one of the hardest in MyPillow's history. It's because of you they're making it through the year. They want to thank you for your continued support by passing on some Christmas specials to our listeners. Get the Children's Bible Story Pillow, the 5-pack, for just $29.98. Get the My Slippers with a free bottle of leather protectant spray for $39.98. Blankets, comforters, and duvets for as low as $25. And a blowout sale on the standard MyPillows for just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call 1-800-716-4879 and use the promo code KANE to take advantage of these wholesale prices, including the standard size MyPillow, originally $49.98, now just $14.98. Queens, $18.99. Kings, only $1 more. MyPillow products come with a 10-year warranty, but MyPillow has just announced they're extending their 60-day money-back guarantee. That's right. Orders placed between now and December 25th will have their 60-day money-back guarantee extended through March 1st, 2026. So go to MyPillow.com, use our promo code KANE at checkout, KANE, or call 1-800-716-4879. Promo code KANE for huge savings on your Christmas shopping.
All right, we'll be back in less than 30 seconds. I'm going to go to the phones. If you'd like to call in, the number is toll-free, 888-465-2631. It's pinned in the live chat. Stand by. All right, we're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. We're talking about Trump and Rob Reiner. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Scott. I'm calling from Kansas
Oh,
City.
hold on, Scott. I mean, the phones are exploding here. All right, go ahead, Scott in Kansas City. What's on your mind?
Yeah, to offset this really bad news, I mean, I'm sorry that Rob and his wife were Menendez parents, but Dick Van Dyke just turned 100 years old.
Yes.
And I'm glad for him. He's a great man. I never met him, but I had dinner, well, me and lots of other people had dinner with him while he was shooting a movie. His son was a very charming individual.
Cool.
I'm sure he still is.
Sure.
But
cool.
I'm just, it's a miracle that a lot of these people make it this far.
Yeah.
Now they had their own tragedy. His brother's daughter offed herself when she was 30 years old.
Mm-hmm. That's
And,
right, Jerry Van Dyke.
Yeah, I don't even know if his brother's still alive.
Jerry Van Dyke? Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. His career died a long time ago.
Yeah, with my mother, the car.
Anyway, listen,
but,
I appreciate the call, all right? Dick Van Dyke, everybody likes him.
I just going to drop that happy note.
You know, I always thought, though, with him, his first and last name are two things that don't usually go together. Anyway, you're on the... Did you guys catch it? You have to be quick to catch that one. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Sean from Ohio.
Hey, John.
How's it going today, Brian? What are you guys talking about, Dan Bongino or the Rob Reiner?
Well, we're talking about both, so you're welcome to comment on either or both.
Well, I don't blame that Bongino's leaving. I guess I heard just on YouTube that he's having a hard time with Dan Bondi. I don't know if that's true. I mean, I guess we'll find out. I know he cleared out his office, they said.
Yep.
The Rob Reiner letter, I don't know. I mean, I know the president doesn't like the guy, but I just think it was a bad taste just being the president. He should have a little more
Why?
exposure.
You know, what I've been talking about all morning is this. We found out, what's happened with Rob Reiner is what happened with John McCain. When President Trump said, I like people that don't get captured, when McCain was trashing him, people freaked out. How could he say this? POW. And then all these things came out about John McCain, about what a scummy guy he was, right? Same thing's happening with Rob Reiner. We now know, this came out yesterday, that Rob Reiner was working with Clapper, Leon Panetta, and other deep state actors against President Trump since he was president-elect the first time. He was part of that Obama coup, and he was a very active participant in it for 12 years. So if you've got a guy who's working with a group of people trying to put you in prison, orchestrating coups against your presidencies, leading you to get shot in Butler, Pennsylvania, what, are you supposed to say nice things when they die?
Well, I don't think that's why he got shot in Butler. Who knows why he got shot in Butler? That's another thing why Bongino kind of needs to go. We don't have no idea what happened with that guy, but I agree. But, I mean, really, was Rob Reiner involved in all that? There's a private citizen involved with government personnel.
All right. I appreciate the call. Guy's got not much to say. Now, let me play. This is the president in the Oval Office yesterday at the medal ceremony.
A number of Republicans have denounced your statement on Truth Social after the murder of Rob Reiner. Do you stand by that post?
Well, I wasn't a fan of his at all. He was a deranged person as far as Trump is concerned. He said he knew it was false. In fact, it's the exact opposite, that I was a friend of Russia, controlled by Russia. You know, it was the Russia hoax. He was one of the people behind it. I think he hurt himself in career-wise. He became like a deranged person, Trump derangement syndrome. So I was not a fan of Rob Reiner at all in any way, shape, or form. I thought he was very bad for our country.
Yeah. So he wasn't just, this is what is, you got to understand. He wasn't just like Rosie O'Donnell or Michael Moore going on TV trashing Trump. He was actively working and organizing with the lawfare conspirators that we all want Bongino to arrest, Clapper and the rest, okay? From the very beginning. That's different. Now, I wanted to share this. Did you guys watch the medal ceremony in the Oval Office yesterday? It was really cool. President Trump gave these medals to members of the military that have been protecting our southern border. And Tom Homan spoke. I want to play this from Tom Homan. Did you guys see Tom Homan yesterday? He was just at the border the day before, and he talked about what happened, okay? This is Tom Homan in the Oval Office yesterday. Listen. And behind him is the president, Pete Hegseth, General Raisin Kane, and listen.
You know, I just got home last night. I toured the border in California, Arizona, and Texas. I did it in four-wheel drive. I did it on the river. I did it from the air. Hundreds upon hundreds of miles of border. I didn't see one illegal alien. Not a single one.
Did you hear that? Not one illegal alien. He patrolled the whole border. Isn't that great?
You know, I just got home last night. I toured the border in California, Arizona, and Texas. I did it in four-wheel drive. I did it on the river. I did it from the air. Hundreds upon hundreds of miles of border. I didn't see one illegal alien. Not a single one.
Amazing.
I've done this since 1984. I worked for 6 different presidents. No one's done more than President Trump. What he has done is gave us the most secure border in the history of this nation. Hard stop. I went hundreds of miles of border, didn't see one illegal alien.
Wow.
Incredible, considering the Biden administration, we had 10, 12,000 a day, most released in the United States. I'm proud to be with these patriots behind me. I'm already proud to be in the Oval Office of the President, but being with these heroes, I met some of these soldiers down on the border.
This
and
is
actually,
yesterday,
shout
Oval
out to
Office.
Fort Drum, New York. We got some 10th Mountain Division here, so at least Stefanik, Claudia Tennant, we all love Fort Drum and the 10th Mountain. So look, this is a game changer. I want to make something perfectly clear, because we get attacked all the time being inhumane. The Biden administration is much more humane. It's a bunch of crap. Because there's been studies done that 31% of women that make that journey through the cartels get sexually assaulted. They get raped. And not just the women, children too. I've done numerous investigations on that. Sex trafficking was historic highs with that open border. Fentanyl, historic highs that killed 250,000 Americans. No inspector terrorists that came across the border. Record, historic. What happened under the Biden administration was the most inhumane thing I've seen in my lifetime. Now that the border is 96% decline, 96% less people are coming, how many women aren't being raped? How many children aren't dying making that journey? How many women and children aren't being sex trafficked into this country every day? How many known suspected terrorists aren't just walking across that border? President Trump and this administration is saving thousands of lives every month. Hard stop. That's just a stone cold fact. I'm just proud to be a part of this. I work with Steve Miller every day. Steve Miller is one of the most brilliant people I've met in my entire life. President Trump brought together one hell of a team here, and the success proved. We all working together, one team, one fight. We're not done yet. We're going to keep going, and I guarantee you we're going to continue saving thousands and thousands of lives. Secure border means strong national security. Secure border saves lives.
Wow. Not one illegal on the southern border. Mission accomplished. The complete opposite of the Justice Department. But Tom Homan's amazing, isn't he? Oh, man. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. This is David in Royal Palm.
Hey, Dave. What's up?
You know, I just wanted to bring up something about Rob Reiner. You know, back in the 70s, you know, he, when All in the Family, was very good about getting themes about anti-handguns and everything else away. And I'm wondering if a pea shooter next to his bed might have saved him and his wife.
Usually, with his son, I doubt it. With his son, no. You know, we don't know all the details of what happened, but, you know, usually with someone like Rob Reiner, who's got a child like this, a son, and it gets that violent, that's usually when they cut them off with the money. You know, we're gonna get more details because there was a hardcore argument between Rob Reiner's son and wife at Conan O'Brien's house where there was a party the night before. So there were a lot of witnesses there that'll be talking to TMZ. So we'll get a lot of details. But no, he wouldn't have done that with his son. No.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic, though, that, he's talking about the dangers of handguns for 50-some years, and it turns out it's cutlery that got him.
Well, another thing, too, you would think Rob Reiner, who was working with the deep state, he was part of the deep state, make no mistake about it. We've heard about actors who have worked for the government in the past, right? Like the actor that played Ashley Wilkes in Gone with the Wind was working with British intelligence when he died.
Mm-hmm.
Rob Reiner was working for and with the deep state actively, officially. Okay, well, officially, unofficially. You know what I mean? He was working with. That's what I've been covering all morning today.
Yes.
So I mean, this is a crazy thing that's happened here. But you would have thought, President Trump's war on drugs. When somebody has a child who's suffering from addiction, and I've known people in my life that have had children or family members that are suffering from addiction. It's a terrible thing for the parents and the families to deal with. And you would have thought that Rob Reiner would have bonded with President Trump, who was ridding this country of illegal drugs. But no.
Yeah. It's a strange thing what happens, but in any case, it's in some cases a shame. There's some irony in there, but in any case, see what happens and see what we learn.
Mm-hmm. All right, take care. Appreciate the call. I'm wearing this shirt today. It's this is one of the official President Trump 250th anniversary 4th of July shirts. It says America 250 on the front with the official logo. And over the weekend, my wife and I were doing laundry and we're folding clothes and putting clothes away. And this shirt that I'm wearing, my wife goes to fold it. She says, Brian, there's no way this shirt's going to fit you. She says, look how tiny it is. I said, it fits me. She's like, there's no way this shirt fits you. I said, no, I put it on. And she said, sure enough, it fits you perfectly. And because of Coastal Weight Loss Secret. I've lost so much weight. This is a shirt that I've bought since I lost all the weight. This shirt is so small compared to all of my other T-shirts. So I got to keep this shirt for a while because this is the size I wear. So I got to get all my T-shirts in this. Most of my shirts that I have still are from when I was big. I have so many T-shirts and everything else, and they're, all my Trump shirts and everything else. They're from when I was much larger than I am now. But this is one of the shirts I bought since I lost all this weight, and it's so. When my wife held it up, I'm like, yeah, I fit it. She's like, this shirt's tiny. I'm a lot smaller now. Call Coastal Weight Loss Secret, okay? And maintaining the weight loss has been totally effortless, as I've been telling you. Set up your no-charge consultation. Remember, Coastal Weight Loss Secret, no drugs, no shots, no injections, no prescriptions, none of that, okay? And that's why it looks so great. And also, they can help you no matter where you are in the United States. 561-743-6300. 561-247-6300. That's 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightloss.com. We'll be right back. All right, if you're on hold, stand by. Where are we here? We're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, this is Hank from Hollywood. How you doing?
All right, Hank. What's on your mind?
I called Tom Laporta at Tom Laporta Roofing. He sent out Scott. Now, Scott is absolutely the best. Scott and Scott's crew are the absolute best. They gave me a great price. They did the job when they said they were going to do it. They finished the job when they said they were going to do it. The materials they used, absolutely the best. I want to thank Tom. I definitely want to thank Scott, and definitely want to thank Scott's crew. These people are number one, and I just want your listeners to know, Tom Laporta at Tom Laporta Roofing. If you need a new roof, call Tom at Tom Laporta Roofing. You're not going to go wrong. You're not going to be disappointed.
Do what Hank did. Call Tom Laporta at Laporta Roofing on his cell phone, 954-604-4602, 954-604-4602, and online, laportaroofing.com. Hey, Brian Craig here. You hear me talk with attorney Barry Siegel every day about how we can help you and your family. Now here's one of our listeners, Frances, sharing her experience of how attorney Barry Siegel made a difference in her life and took a weight off her shoulders.
I was really looking for something to help me secure my holdings, which is actually not a whole bunch of bank account, savings, and a house and a car for my two daughters. I was worried that if I had just a regular will, things would get tied up in probate, and that would take 2 years. So I heard on the radio about Barry Siegel, the attorney. I gave them a call, and immediately they were so kind. They were so nice. They assured me that they could help. I went over there, and they sat with me, and we went over everything. And I ended up with this wonderful trust for my two daughters. So if something does happen to me, things just turn over to them, and it'll make it so much easier for them. And it took a great load off of my mind as to how I would take care of my two daughters. I was very pleased with the attorney Barry Siegel. Finding him helped me assure that my two daughters will be well taken care of in the event that I won't be here.
Give attorney Barry Siegel a call right now. Toll free, 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782. And online, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, I got to play this. We're still in radio station break to make sure there's no bad language.
We have a racist in the White House.
There we go.
We have a sexist in the White House, and he is tearing away at the fabric of our democracy.
The single most unqualified human being to ever assume the presidency of the United States. He's mentally unfit.
People always say, you know, he could redo All in the Family. I said, what do you mean? We're living it. We've got Archie in the White House. He always, when he quotes something that isn't him, and they're talking about Donald Trump, he goes, well, Donald Trump, bo, 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 bo. Every character is exactly the same. Well, Donald Trump, bo, bo, bo.
Okay. Wow. Pretty bad, huh? All right, we're coming back. $20 seconds. If you're on hold, hang in there. If you want to call in, the number is pinned in the live chat. All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. So if you're just tuning in, I've covered a lot. Steve will be joining us after the top of the hour. But I've been detailing how Rob Reiner, we've learned now that he was actively working with the lawfare people that had been trying to bring Trump down for 12 years from the earliest days. Here's a clip of Rob Reiner talking about President Trump.
You have a complete and utter lying buffoon. I mean, I'm going to tell you the truth. He's a fraud. He lies. He cheats people. Everything that comes out of his mouth virtually is a lie. And he's a con man. And if you look at what he's done with his career and how he's tricked people into things, it's abhorrent. I never liked George W. Bush, his policies, but I didn't hate the guy. I hate this man. I've never hated a politician. I can't not hate somebody who bilks innocent people out of money, life savings. And we've seen it. He with that Trump University, he took people's money, $35,000, wiped these people out, and is being sued for it. He steals money from charities. I'm not making this stuff up.
What charity did Trump steal from in the Trump University? Give me a break. So that's one. But there's another one. Okay, now this is the one where he outed himself. Okay, this is Rob Reiner. He's on CNN, and he's just launched with David Frum the Committee to Investigate Russia, right? He went on CNN, the Clinton News Network, to announce this, okay? Now, this is the part where, this is when I saw this yesterday, this is what, I'm like, oh, wow. This was the shocking part. So here's Rob Reiner. He's with Frum. He's on CNN.
It occurred to me that, we've heard this cliche our whole lives. When our country is attacked, politics stops at the water's edge. This is the first time that didn't happen. And I started to think, I don't know that the public understands the gravity of what the Russians were able to do and continue to do here in the United States.
Okay, now he's on here announcing the formation of the Committee to Investigate Russia, of which he's a board member of.
They've attacked us. They are trying to undermine our democracy. And for some reason, we are not understanding the gravity of this. And I think a big part of that is because the President of the United States is not saying, in the Oval Office, my fellow Americans, we've been attacked. And so I started reaching out to, people who are patriots and not necessarily my political stripe to say, we're all together in this. Our country is attacked. Democracy is on the brink if we're going to survive, we need to come together as Americans and understand what happened.
Okay. So, yeah, I know this. Okay. So now this clip, this is when I learned yesterday of what Rob Reiner was doing. He was there. He's a board member of this Committee to Investigate Russia. Okay? And he's an advisory board member of it. As is James Clapper, who was the director of national intelligence for Obama. General Michael Hayden, who was a CIA director and headed up the National Security Agency. Leon Panetta is also an advisory board member of this Rob Reiner organization. Leon Panetta wasn't just the defense secretary. He was also director of the CIA and White House chief of staff. Okay? And there's some other people on here too. But he's on this advisory board, Committee to Investigate Russia, with two former directors of the CIA and Clapper, who was the director of national intelligence. And we know for a fact that Clapper was in that Oval Office meeting with Comey and Obama when they launched the coup organization against the president. And Rob Reiner was there when they first started doing their work. So he was almost like the celebrity spokesperson for the lawfare people. Because of his celebrity, he could get on TV whenever he wanted to, and anytime he said something, it went all over the place. So that's why President Trump was rightly so upset and angry and has such anger towards Rob Reiner. I mean, if someone was trying to put you in prison, spent 12 years harassing you and your family, got you arrested multiple times, got you shot in Butler, Pennsylvania, shot at again at the golf course in Florida, and a whole bunch of stuff in between, and they passed away, what are you going to say? You're going to be ticked off too. Exactly. So, context, this is information that I did not know about until yesterday. But I knew this. When President Trump posted on Truth Social, and I read it, I said to my wife, I said, Trump knows some things about Rob Reiner we don't know. But we're going to, because it's going to come out. And sure enough, it started coming out real quick on social media. And this particular thing that I just shared with you with the Committee to Investigate Russia, this is when I was like, oh my God, I was in shock. Because prior to that, I thought he was just some big mouth has-been like Rosie or Ellen or Michael Moore. But no, he had the job that those losers would like to have, working for the deep state. It's pretty bad. He was a bad guy, really a bad guy. Now, another great Christmas gift. What are we? We're 7, 8, 9 days away from Christmas. You still have time. Sloman's Home Security is offering a free home security system with free professional installation and 24/7 central station monitoring. You get all that for just $24.95 a month for 5 years. Wow. This makes a great Christmas gift for yourself in your own home, for your family at home, or as a gift to your adult children living outside the home, your parents, your grandparents. This is a great gift. Your Sloman's home security system includes a touchscreen keypad, 3 door or window sensors, a motion detector, notifications, and remote keypad access. You can check in from anytime, anywhere, no matter where you are. Maybe you're at Publix, the mall, or maybe you're on a European vacation. You can check in. Give them a call. 833-283-5050. to get your free home security system and professional installation. 833-283-5050. That's 833-283-5050. Okay, when we get back after the top of the hour break, Steve Kane will be joining us. Steve disagrees with me on this. At least he did last night. Maybe he's been listening and has heard some of these things and has changed his mind. I don't know. We'll find out after the top of the hour. If you have any opinions on any of this, you're welcome to call in. Also, I talked about early in the program that it's being reported by multiple outlets, including the Gateway Pundit and Fox News, that Dan Bongino was set to quit the FBI. It's also being reported that he's cleaned out his desk and office already. And I was talking about that, and if he returned to his media life, what would that mean? And I don't have time to get into that right now because we're up against the top of the break. I talked about it at the beginning. But your thoughts on Dan Bongino quitting the FBI, that's certainly fair game to discuss too. And I'm also curious to hear your thoughts on Rob Reiner and Trump now that you know about these things I've been sharing for the last couple hours. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show, on the radio since 1977. My name is Brian Craig. We've got 1 hour to go. The number is 888-465-2631. We'll be back right after this break. Oh, boy, 1 hour to go.
This past year has been one of the hardest in MyPillow's history. It's because of you they're making it through the year. They want to thank you for your continued support by passing on some Christmas specials to our listeners. Get the Children's Bible Story Pillow, the 5-pack, for just $29.98. Get the My Slippers with a free bottle of leather protectant spray for $39.98. Blankets, comforters, and duvets for as low as $25. And a blowout sale on the standard MyPillows for just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call 1-800-716-4879 and use the promo code KANE to take advantage of these wholesale prices, including the standard size MyPillow, originally $49.98, now just $14.98. Queens, $18.99. Kings, only $1 more. MyPillow products come with a 10-year warranty, but MyPillow has just announced they're extending their 60-day money-back guarantee. That's right. Orders placed between now and December 25th will have their 60-day money-back guarantee extended through March 1st, 2026. So go to MyPillow.com, use our promo code KANE at checkout, KANE, or call 1-800-716-4879. Promo code KANE for huge savings on your Christmas shopping.
All right, Steve, you there?
I'm here.
Yeah, we got less than a minute.
Okay.
All right, the 8 o'clock hour has begun. Steve Kane joining us. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian. Hey, Steve.
Good morning.
All right.
I see you've mounted a great defense of
President Trump? No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I mean, I just said, all I said yesterday was I didn't think that the president did himself a favor by taking a hardcore position last night. I don't think everybody knows about this committee. What is the name of the committee you
well, this is amazing. I'm not making a defense of the president. President Trump needs no defense. I'm just informing people of some things they didn't know. Rob Reiner.
No, but you didn't tell that story to justify the attitude of the president.
I'm not justifying anything. I'm explaining. I'm putting in context what the president said yesterday. It's the committee to investigate Russia that Rob Reiner, that Rob Reiner formed with James Clapper and two other guys who were directors of the CIA. He's part of the Comey-Obama Russia coup against the president, or he was. He's dead now, but he was.
Well, in hindsight, I don't think the president did himself any favor by being. I mean, it was a horrible thing that happened.
Yes.
And people relate to it, unfortunately, because everybody's got a wayward son or something like that in their family. And it doesn't quite get as extreme as this situation, guys. And I just think the president, I think, lost some sympathy last night.
Oh, I think the opposite's true. You know, the way I could, if you're on hold, stand by. Just let me explain a little bit more. What's going on here with Rob Reiner is an exact carbon copy of the "I like people that don't get captured" with John McCain. The immediate reaction from people, how can he say this, prisoner of war? And then a day or two go by and we find out what a scumbucket John McCain is. Same thing's happening with Rob Reiner. And Steve, I would not be surprised. I'm telling you, it would not shock me if Rob Reiner was making a living getting paid to be a part of this coup against the president. He's not making movies anybody's seeing anymore.
I just don't think it was smart. And the president usually is pretty savvy on these things.
Oh, I think it was brilliant.
Well,
he's exposing how deep and
did you get? I mean, look, obviously Reiner had a severe case of Trump derangement syndrome. There's no question of that, and we have a touch of that in our family.
No,
so I'm very familiar with it, and it's not fun dealing with. But I think the president should have taken the high road on that at that particular moment. That's just what I think.
All right, you want to take any calls?
Sure.
All right, I've been.
Have you had any calls in Reiner's defense?
Yeah, there's been a couple. There's been a couple people that think it was inappropriate. Most people agree with me so far, but who knows? We'll find out.
Okay, let's see what the public thinks.
I mean, I think now that I've informed people as to what Rob Reiner was up to and who he was working with, I think it's woken some people up. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Are you saying he deserved to get his throat cut? Well,
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. Trump's comments.
Right.
I'm talking about Trump's comments. You're on the air, caller.
Yes, good morning, gentlemen. It's Greg.
Oh, Greg, too.
Hey, Greg.
Yes, good morning, Steve. Good morning, Steve. How are you guys doing today?
Hear all this fake smile in his voice? I love
Better
it.
than I am smiling because you know what? You know what, Brian? You're exhibiting your Trump derangement syndrome once again. That you're approving of disparaging a dead person that got murdered like by a horrific incident, and you're like, well, yeah, it's okay to badmouth him afterwards.
Mm.
You approve of that behavior, that conduct? That's the type of person you are?
He's exposing how deep this Russiagate was going.
Oh, but he called him.
I'll give you an example. I'm going to give you an example, Greg. Okay, I mentioned this early in the show, and please, Steve, don't say the names. Okay, please don't use them because you'll know about some of this stuff.
We're going to go on from this.
Yeah, I know. I want to give an example away from this. There was one person that was a big harasser and stalker of mine for years, that was stalking me in ways that were, I had to go to when my daughter was in elementary school, I had to go to the school and meet with administration. They were stalking me and harassing me for years. There were undercover police operations and federal agencies involved with this person and what they were doing with me. They died during the pandemic, okay? And I remember feeling good that they were no longer there to harass me. Right, I did, and you know who I'm talking about, Steve. There's another one too, but you know, am I a bad person? This was a person that spent years harassing me and my family. They died, and when they died, I felt good and relieved. Am I a bad person because of that, Greg?
No, I could see a sense of certainly relief, feeling good about someone's death. That's a different level.
Well, that's what happened with President Trump and Rob Reiner.
Let me say a couple of sentences. You go on, and then you don't allow me to actually respond.
Go ahead. Finish.
Yeah. You know what? In closing, listen, you were relieved, but you know what? When you're the president of the United States, you don't have to comment on Rob Reiner. You could just say rest in peace and let it go. But you know what? You know Donald Trump, and listen, Steve, I think you agree with me. It was not appropriate. You're the president, the leader of the free world, the most powerful person in the world.
He comments on everything. Rob Reiner was working. Rob Reiner was. Greg, I want you to talk about this, okay? Because I know this is news to you. I did not know this till yesterday, and I know you didn't either. And you and I are well informed. You know, we found out that Rob Reiner was working with Clapper and two other guys who were CIA directors against Trump. That's not shocking to you and surprising?
Oh, it's very surprising, but to the same token, you could address it in a much classier, respectful manner. You could say, you know what, I don't agree with what he was doing, and leave it at that. Let's move to the next topic. Don't you agree, Steve? Let Steve express his sentiment for a moment.
I said from the beginning, I think the president lost ground in the eyes of the increasingly nervous public. I think the president injured himself. I think he didn't look good. He didn't look sympathetic. It was not the moment to be a hard ass.
Exactly. And you know what, Brian, if you can't accept that, and you know what, and most of the American people feel the same way Steve and I do.
But they don't know what I've been sharing today. And President Trump has now exposed Rob Reiner and how large this Russia. He was part of the coup right after that first meeting with Obama when Trump was president-elect.
Listen, I was talking to a friend of mine earlier today. People don't even know who Rob Reiner is. You act like he's still some influential person in Hollywood. He's not. He hasn't done anything. He's a has-been. Who cares?
No. He's very famous. He was very famous. That's why his death is so high profile.
Do you think he's very famous? If you took a poll, I'll take
anybody that's literate in film, he's very
and television.
Famous.
All in the Family is one of the most influential television shows in history. All right, hey Greg.
Do you think people are?
Yeah, all right, we'll move on.
You think people are?
Yes, I do think. Hold on, Steve. I got. Okay, there we go. Rob, see, Steve, this is what hold on, let me answer all these lines. The phone lines are blowing up. See, what I found out, Steve, with this committee to investigate Russia, which isn't just something that Rob Reiner was doing in his living room of his mansion.
But it was something that you didn't know at the time and something that I didn't know at the time.
But Trump did.
Well, Trump did, but Trump's not his own audience. Trump has to worry about what other people think.
There was another, please don't say the name of the person that I'm going to reference, okay? There was another person who's a known person in Florida, okay, in South Florida, to some, who died a while back that had harassed you and me in many different ways for many, many years. Me worse than you, but and for other reasons. But this was a person, and you and I had nothing to do with this person for decades, years. But even though we had nothing to do with them, they kept coming out of the woodwork to cause us both problems all the time. Okay? And when they passed away, I felt relief that they weren't going to be there to hound me anymore and cause problems in my life or try to. And I talked to my wife and I said, I feel, you know who I'm talking about. Please don't say the names.
You have a list of people like that.
Two people. One of them was the stalkers. I don't want to say the names of anybody because they may have friends and I don't want to start a new cycle. But the other one, the one that's more recent, was someone that had bothered you and me for years and years and years. You before I knew you. And then and they caused trouble for you and me from even on their deathbed. They were trying to cause trouble with us. And they passed away, and this is somebody that some of you in the audience would know. And I felt a sense of relief, and I felt bad. And I was talking to my wife. I said, I feel relieved that they're dead. And I feel bad that I feel relief. And my wife said, that what they were doing to you. Of course you feel good. You don't have them on your shoulder anymore, causing you problems. And, you know, sometimes there's poison people out there, like Rob Reiner, who was working with these coup conspirators. They got President Trump shot. They got him arrested. They got him sued by E. Jean Carroll and all this stuff. And this is, I'm sorry. You know, and you know, that's what happened here with Rob Reiner. Come on. And I think
Well, you left the major thing that happened to him. He got his head cut off.
He didn't get it cut off. He got his throat slit.
Well, would you not admit that's a distinction without a difference?
Nobody's saying no one's justifying that. But
that was the context of the discussion.
But he was working with people that got the president shot and arrested a bunch of times and was destroying his life, breaking into his house and everything else. Of course, President Trump's pissed off and is exposing this. All right, hey, we got to take our break, okay? So let me put you on hold, put everybody on hold. Call us on hold, stand by. It's the Steve Kane Show. My name's Brian. We'll be right back. If you're on hold, hang in there. All right. Oh, boy. Show's going by fast. I mean, we're hitting 3 hours already in, and the show has just flown by. I can't believe I started 3 hours ago. A Few Good Men is very good. And, of course, Jag was a complete spin-off of that, right? Okay.
Hello.
Hey, Barry, it's Brian.
Hey, Brian. Good morning.
Hey there. Hold on. We got less than a minute. I'm just going to conference Steve in here, and then we'll
okay.
Stand by. All right, Steve, you there? Steve? Nope, Steve went away. Hold on, Barry. All right, we are back, and it's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you, Brian?
I'm doing well. What do you have for us this week?
Well, I mean, we're getting really close to the holidays. It's already Hanukkah, so happy Hanukkah to those celebrating Hanukkah. And Christmas is coming up very soon, New Year's. It's time to be thinking about our friends and family, the people we love, and people we want to make sure are well taken care of, and that's where estate planning comes in. That's what we do at the Siegel Law Group, estate planning, elder law, probate, and trust administration. And one of the things, though, with estate planning, it's one of those things that whether you have it or not, if you don't have it, a lot of times people think, oh, I'll get around to that. And if they already have it and they know that they need to have it reviewed and updated, there's some changes that they're thinking about, oh, I'll get around to that. And really, for a lot of people, there seems to be really no urgency in getting their estate planning done or updated. But the thing is, there are deadlines, and those deadlines are, God forbid, if we become incapacitated and we're no longer here. And the thing is, if you look, and this is a silly analogy, but if you look at, if anybody looks in the mirror and looks at their forehead, or you look at the forehead of anyone else, what do you see? Hopefully nothing, because otherwise, what I'm talking about is, what if you had an expiration date on your forehead, just like a carton of milk, excuse me. And if you had that, then you would know. But the thing is, we don't know when our expiration date is going to be.
That's right.
And therefore, it's a good idea to get this done and have a process to have it reviewed from time to time, because you never know when that time's going to come. Stuff happens. And so that's why it's important to make sure that you have your planning done so that you and the people you love are taken care of.
And, we see these tragedies with, celebrities like Rob Reiner, who has multiple children, and he obviously has one child who had a lot of problems, and he's got other children that are responsible. So many families have that one irresponsible person in the family that the last thing you want to do is to give them a windfall of an inheritance, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, apparently the son had a lot of drug issues.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if it was drug and alcohol or just drugs, but
yeah.
What you don't want to do is you don't want to end up leaving a whole bunch of money to someone in that situation, especially giving them control over it, because somebody with a drug or alcohol problem, and now you're giving them a whole bunch of money. I mean, you could seriously hurt them or kill them just by giving them access to all that money, which gives them access to all the drugs.
That's right. That's right. Well, listen, give the Siegel Law Group a call. Make sure when you call, you mention you heard Attorney Barry Siegel on the program so you can take advantage of the no-charge in-office consultation. 855-FLA-3782, 855-FLA-3782, and online, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel, we'll talk later in the week.
All right, thanks, Brian.
All right, take care. All right, let me see if I can find Steve here. Steve, you back with us? Okay, hold on. Let me see here. I've got my lines mixed up. You there? You're on the air.
morning, Steve. Good morning,
Oh,
Brian.
hold on, Richie. I lost Steve here, and I don't know how I lost Steve. I got my lines mixed up on what line Steve is on. So hold on, guys. Let me get Steve. He's on one of these lines. I just don't know which one, because I've gotten them all mixed up. So let me go through them. All right. Are you there? Oh, no. Okay, I'm gonna have to call Steve back, because every line on the board is lit. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? See, now I've lost everyone. Oh my goodness, isn't this great? This is what live radio, people. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Yeah, okay, that's not Steve. Let me try this one. All right, and who's this?
Yeah,
Richie.
Good morning. This is Richie.
I have got every line lit. I've got them all mixed up. I can't tell which one Steve is. Oh, let me try it again, and then I'll take a quick. Hey, I don't know. Maybe we need to get a new sponsor that does, like, I need one of those cognitive tests that Trump's always taken. Maybe I've got the Alzheimer's maybe I've got the Alzheimer's kicking in, because I know Steve's on hold, but there's 30 lines and I've forgotten which one. So hold on. Well, there's actually more than 30. All right, let me try this one. Okay, nope, that's not Steve. Hold on. Okay, Steve, do I got you this time? Oh my goodness, I'm in so much trouble. Hold on. I know that's him. All right, are you there? No, I'm gonna have to call Steve back during the break. So, Mike, we're gonna take a quick break. Okay, just one spot, and I'll get Steve back on the line. We'll be right back. All right, we got you. Sorry, Steve.
Hello?
Yes, sorry. I just have the board up played. One spot, Mike. Every line on the board lit. Over 30 lines.
Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, good. We have over 30 lines. Every one of them lit, and I forgot which line you were on. So we got you back. Now I know which line you're on. I just got confused with all the lines. All right, let's go. We are back. I got Steve on the line. All right, here we go. All right, Richie, we got Steve. I found Steve.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Rich. Hello?
No, this isn't Richie. All right, go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
This is Jerry.
Hey, Jerry.
Talking to Jerry?
Yep, it's you, Jerry.
Yeah. What's up, Jerry? Thanks for bringing this information about Rob Reiner to our attention. And I remember back in when he was in All of the Family, and I guess he was playing himself as Meathead against Archie Bunker, and so it just the new information here just fits, and also that's I guess on the negative side. On the positive side, he did produce one of my favorite movies, A Few Good Men.
That's a great film. All his movies were great.
All of them?
Yeah.
They're good.
The ones you talk about, they're all great. Spinal Tap is great. Few Good Men is great.
Yeah. I like Misery with James Caan and Kathy Bates.
Princess Bride is great.
Yeah. I don't like that.
Anyway, so given all the information that you've brought out, message to the liberals: you can't handle the truth.
That's right. They can't handle the truth. That's true. Now let me ask you, Steve. Now that I've gone through all this stuff, though, it doesn't change your view on it that we found out what Rob Reiner was up to?
I wish you no, because we're talking about different things. I think that it was not the time or place. I don't think I'll repeat what I said in my initial stab at it. The president did not do himself any favors with his overly vicious answer to the question about Rob Reiner and the time of his passing.
Okay.
It was a mistake. and the president doesn't make a lot of mistakes.
But like, say it wasn't Rob Reiner, but it was, you know, like Michael Avenatti or something. Would that have been in bad? You know, Stormy Daniels' lawyer. Would that have been in bad taste too?
It wouldn't have harmed Trump.
See,
the problem with what happened was, I think it was a negative. You keep forgetting I'm on Trump's side. I think it was a negative for Trump, the way it came down.
See,
I don't think it was a positive.
I think the opposite. In the immediate sense, it may have seemed that way. But in the next day, as we're exposing this whole new wing of the Russia, I think it's good. All right, let's take some more calls. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, good morning. It's Matthew from Pompano.
Hey, Matthew.
What's up, man?
Hey, how are you, Steve? How are you, Brian?
All right.
So I have to agree with Steve, and I think that, you know, Trump weighing in on Reiner the way he did, it's kind of indicative, I think, of why some of his support is starting to slip. And you may disagree, Brian, but he inserts himself. It's what makes him a good politician. But people are tiring of Trump always having everything about Trump. Before he even knew what the details were, it was immediately about Trump derangement syndrome, and he increasingly makes everything about himself, and the people are starting to say, what are you doing for me? And it seems like
you say his support's starting to slip. Who are these MAGA people that don't support him anymore? I missed that.
Well, and by the way, he's doing a lot for everybody in the president's defense.
Well, I think that, you know, people are the reason they put him in. One thing he's done quite well is obviously the border, which people generally still agree with him. But
all you have to do is watch the gold and silver prices each day. You'll see what he's doing.
Well, gold and silver prices are indicative of budget spending that has kind of gone kind of reckless, and that's what it's indicating.
What are you kidding? The federal government's taking in record money with the tariffs that he's paid. He's paid over $600 billion of the deficit off, they said over the weekend.
First of all, it's not. The tariff money is under $200 billion. Even there, he talks totally out of reality. $18 trillion that he's brought in. He has no
in business deals.
Real basis on economics.
No, in business deals that he's brought in. These factories.
He hasn't. First of all, he has not brought them in. They're like promises of money that will be maybe in the future. That's not real money that's coming in. He's talked about spending down tariff money that is way in excess of what's been brought in, with rebate checks that, by the way, will never materialize.
See, this is what's going on. You may deny this, but you know, you got a little Trump derangement syndrome there. Not as bad as Rob Reiner had, but you've got a little bit of it. And people.
I don't have Trump derangement syndrome. I do not have Trump derangement.
Okay,
syndrome.
I know. I said okay. Well, before you fix a problem, you got to admit you've got it. But isn't that what they tell you guys in AA?
Anybody that doesn't worship Trump on every single thing to you as Trump derangement.
So Trump. Let me finish my thought. Let me finish my thought.
Trump is losing support.
You know, those that are suffering from Trump derangement syndrome, like yourself, you're going to grab.
Not me.
I know. Tell yourself that. I'll let the court of public opinion decide. You're going to grab onto anything to try to tear him down. And this thing here, you just went through a list of crap.
I went through a list of reality. I think sometimes people like you say nothing ever needs to be fixed. The trouble is Trump and the Republicans are headed for massive losses in the midterms.
Tell yourself
that's going to be a problem because all the agenda, all the polls show you that, Brian.
No, they don't.
Deny it,
President Trump has an 87%. The latest CNN poll has Trump at an 87% approval rating among Trump voters, which is where he was 6 months ago. The polls you're talking about poll Democrats. Who cares what they think? Hey, listen, we got to run for our bottom of the hour break. You're a very good caller, so call again, all right? You challenge us, and you've got half a brain, which is a lot more than these other callers. Okay, all right, take care.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Take
Thank
care.
you so much.
Steve, I'm not going to forget what line you're on this time. I promise. Okay, I just got confused. You know, I'm getting older, Steve. Maybe I got to take a cognitive test. What do you think? I'm afraid to take a cognitive test. I don't want to know what it says. All right. If you're on hold, stand by. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. Oh, Steve. The other day on Friday, you weren't here on Friday. A caller called in. She had her Christmas party at Wings Plus.
Oh, you told me about this. This was wild. A huge party. Great place to party, by the way.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we don't talk about this too much. I mean, we'll make a passing reference because we do events there. But anyone can have events at Wings Plus. They've got great areas that are private rooms where you can have Christmas parties, business meetings.
Great place for a Christmas party.
Yeah, a lot of people have events at Wings Plus, not just us, in the private rooms. And by the way, the private rooms, like the other rooms, have televisions and things in them if you need them, and and they even have.
The other great thing around this time of year is we're getting ready to enter the NFL playoffs. And a great place to watch the football playoffs.
Yeah.
They got all these great televisions, and they got all the games on, and a great place to bond and enjoy your fellow Steve Kane listeners. It's the place, after all, where the politically elite meet, with the best plump, juicy, crispy, at the same time, wings that you could find anywhere.
Yeah.
Unbelievable food.
And remember, everything at Wings Plus is homemade. Nothing comes out of a can, including the wing sauces and the clam chowder. Oh man! Sometimes when I go and get wings and I do takeout, or even if I eat there, I always get a takeout of the clam chowder. Have you had the clam chowder, Steve?
Oh, the clam chowder is great.
Oh, you turned me on to the clam chowder, actually.
Yeah, I turned you on to all those great dishes.
Yeah, well, I turned you on the Wings Plus in the first place, so I get all the credit for everything. But you did. No, I'm kidding. No, it's great food, and it's a great place to have your corporate event, your company Christmas party, a family get-together, or take out for the football games too, because everything is spectacular. It's a meal that no one will ever forget, and you'll go back again and again because it's so good. Wings Plus is located in Coral Springs on Sample Road, about a mile west of University Drive on the south side of Sample. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show. All right, back to the phone, Steve. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Richie.
I finally got Richie back.
Steve.
Yeah, hey, Rich.
Good morning. Okay, first of all, Greg, too, I want to, he said that disparaging a person who just got murdered, I wonder if Adam Schiff lost his life, whether President Trump should kiss up to him once he's dead. And Steve, you said he made the wrong move. I don't, not for nothing. Wrong move against what? The man, Brian played it. He said, I hate this guy. This was him saying to Trump, I hate this man. All of a sudden, because he's dead, he should take a different direction, go with the wind, do the politically correct thing and say, oh, well, it's sorry that it happened. No, I just don't agree with that. As a matter of fact, I'm glad that he said what he said. And because to me, this guy was a dirtbag, and he did everything to disrupt MAGA. He called all of us MAGA people dirtbags, basically. So, I mean, no, this guy is dead. I'm sorry that his son killed him. I don't want to see anyone die like that. But he was a dirtbag in life, and he's probably going to be a dirtbag in death.
See, Richie, now that I found out about how he was working with Clapper and 2 CIA directors, I'm wondering if Rob Reiner had been making a living doing this the last few years. Well, he certainly wasn't from movies anymore.
They all collaborate together. Do you remember the January 6th hearings with NBC production? Don't you think that Rob Reiner and a bunch of these other Hollywood people got involved in that and were trying to make this the greatest soap opera of all time for 1 year, knocking Trump on a daily basis with Liz Cheney and the other creep? No, I'm sorry, Steve. I think you're wrong with this one. I don't think he made the wrong move at all. I don't want to.
Well, why do you? Okay, now hold on, Richie. Now I've said many times what I've learned, but why do you think it was the right thing for President Trump to say?
Because he's honest, and I want somebody, not a politician, that's going to go with the wind. Any other politician would say, "Oh, I'm sorry, he died," and everything like that. President Trump tells it the way it is, and that's why I love him, and that's why I would vote for him if he won another term. I want somebody that's honest with the American people. All of a sudden, he's supposed to change his feelings because the guy's dead.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, don't speak evil against somebody who just died. Steve, you've gone to funerals before where everyone in the funeral home is looking at a guy in a casket and they're all kissing him and saying, oh, he was such a great guy, and 50% of the people there hated him.
Well, you don't have to do that. You don't have to do that. It's just you don't have to shoot yourself in the foot either.
He didn't shoot himself in the foot. Who didn't shoot him? With liberals? They were going to cut, no matter what they go after him for everything. You're falling into the trap by saying he shot himself in the foot. That's what they want everybody to say.
Exactly.
I don't think that way.
That's what they all said when he said, I like people that don't get captured, and that turned out to be a big positive. It woke people up about John McCain.
Yeah, this guy, Rob Reiner, was nothing but a liberal hack. And he had a bully pulpit, and he went on Colbert and all of those shows after 11 o'clock at night, knocking Trump on a daily basis. Yeah. And I just can't see. I'm sorry. I'm glad Trump should have said Trump said the right thing. The guy was bad for the country because the guy is preaching liberal values.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Richie. All right, take care. Thanks
right,
for the call. Yeah, well, you know. So some agree with you, Steve. Some agree with me, but you know,
that's how it's supposed to be, isn't it?
Yeah. No. Okay. Now, if you're on hold, stand by. You know, one thing, if you've noticed in December, Rob Reiner aside, there's still a lot of people passing. We're talking about Anthony Geary from General Hospital over the weekend. You know, this is just December is the deadliest month of the year, and
that's what they say.
Oh my goodness! And Life Imaging FLA. Is here to save lives through proactive healthcare. You know, Life Imaging FLA offers free heart scans with a few minimum requirements valued at $699. And when you're over there, make sure you ask them about the cancer screening. I've had both. And I got good news. No cancer, no blockage, no plaque buildup. And what a relief that has been for me. Really a weight off of my shoulders. I assumed at some point in my 50s that was going to be it. I was going to have a heart attack, and that was it. And I've mentioned so many times over the years, I have so much life insurance, more than most people, okay, because I just assumed I was going to have a heart attack because of my cholesterol. Now, I'm keeping the life insurance, okay, everybody in the family, everything's cool, but I have all that life insurance because I was so worried that I was going to have a heart attack because my cholesterol has been so high for so many years. But you know, Life Imaging FLA, which by the way, they have locations in Broward, Dade, and Palm Beach County, they find people all the time, some even in this audience, that have heart issues, that have cancer through these scans, and people can go to their doctors before there are even any symptoms and get things taken care of. It's proactive healthcare, and they're saving lives every day. From your cell phone, call pound 250 and say free heart scan. You'll be connected in seconds. That's pound 250 and say free heart scan. Pound 250, say free heart scan. You'll be connected in seconds. Can I bring up a couple other things, Steve, before I go back to the phones?
Sure, of course, if I'm still on.
Yeah, of course you're still on. You were on before. I just lost track of. I usually connect you on a particular line every day. And for some reason, I connected you on a different line, and I just forgot which one it was. And I looked down at the board, and I was like, oh, my goodness. I talked earlier, a couple things. There's Fox News and other outlets are reporting that Dan Bongino has cleaned out his desk and office at the FBI and is going to quit.
We never did get to the bottom of what that was about.
I've been telling you about that for months.
Well, but I mean, we decide the reason was? What was the straw that broke the camel's back?
His business is, without him, is belly up. He was making millions of dollars a month on his podcast and radio show.
Well, he didn't quit over money.
Yeah. No. Yeah, that's what it's all about. Yeah. He's not going to say that, but yeah. That's why he and his wife have been having problems, And what I wonder is, they did have the good arrest with the pipe bomber. I'll give Bongino that. But other than that, we haven't seen what we expected. You know, what we all expected was Bongino to be like Tom Homan, and he obviously isn't. And if he is actually quitting, he's going to try to resurrect his program. And the way I see it happening is this. There'll be a lot of attention in the beginning right? First show and everything else. Everybody will be listening. There'll be a lot of excitement. And
so can I just, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I got to clarify something. Are you saying this quitting thing, the story we're getting this morning, you're saying that's not over a specific issue? That he's just generally fed up, or he's tired of not getting paid enough?
It's the money, yeah. See, a lot of these people that work for Trump are already independently wealthy. His thing is new, and believe me, they're not making the money without him there. And that's why he's having marital problems. He said on Fox News him and his wife were split. That's what it's all about. And this is what I want to ask you about, because this is how I see that happening, okay? If he quits and goes back to his show. There'll be a lot of attention when he goes back the first week because he's back, right? The second week, he'll go through the pipe bomber. And then as the attention starts to wane, then what's he going to do in the third week, in the fourth and fifth week? And I expect him to start becoming a griper, kind of like a Marjorie Taylor Greene type a few weeks out. Because he doesn't have, if he had done the lawfare arrest that we all expected him to do, he would come back to a hero's welcome and be bigger than ever. But without that,
well, the whole thing puts him in a bad position because people expect him to spill, and if he doesn't spill, he's going to find he's not such a hard commodity as he thinks.
Other than the pipe bomber, which isn't one of the famous people that we want in jail for the lawfares against Trump, okay? He's not going to have a lot to brag about from his tenure as deputy FBI director. I think he'll turn into...
Well, he'll have a lot to complain about.
That's right.
I'm sure of that.
Yeah, he'll become almost like a never Trumper. And
exactly.
And I don't think when he returns he's going to have the celebrity or influence that he had. There'll be a lot of attention in the beginning, but 3-4 weeks out it'll fade. And he's going to become he's going to become a Marjorie Taylor Greene type. And he could even find his podcast being supported by the Marjorie Taylor Greene people, right? Types, the never Trumpers, so far as sponsorships and stuff. There's no way without those. Now, if he had done the job like, Tom Homan is not the Secretary of Homeland Security. He does, Tom Homan's office is a vague one, right? Borders are. He's not even in the chain of command, right? He's really just his position is really only an advisory position to the president. But he's out there taking charge, kicking in doors, and putting cuffs on people. Bongino has done jack. He got the pipe bomber. But even then, they said there were no new witnesses, no investigations, just with information they already had. So he's not going to come back to the hero's welcome. I don't think he'll be able to recover unless he gets in bed with the never Trumper. Do you agree with me on that, Steve? It sounds like you do.
Hard to say.
Well, we'll find out.
I think he'll make it as a griper.
Well, a griper is a never Trumper. If he becomes a griper, that's a never Trumper, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? Like, I'm the true MAGA, and I wanted to do these things, but they wouldn't let me. Yeah, that he would come back to trash. He would be trashing Trump is what he'd be doing. Griping is trashing Trump. During the midterm election year, we don't need that. All right. Look at the time. We got to take a break, right? Last break of the show. We'll be back with the Gold Report. All right, hold on, Steve. I got to get William Youngerman. Hold on. Hey, when we have less than a minute, so I'm going to keep you on here. I'm going to conference Steve in. All right, Steve, you there?
I am.
All right, stand by. We got about 30 seconds.
Okay. More?
Nope, stand by, Steve. 10 seconds. All right, it's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated in Boca with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report. William Youngerman, how the metals looking?
Metals looking very strong, very positive, good consolidation after last week's lofty gains. We saw gold trading in a range yesterday of $4,285 on the low, all the way up to $4,351. That's basically bouncing off our all-time record high of around $4,355. And then closing up just $5.60 yesterday at $4,304.30. Silver gained $2.15 yesterday, closing out at $64.02 the ounce.
Oh, my goodness.
Platinum gained $43. Platinum has been on an absolute tear. It's up to closed up yesterday $43 at $1,785 the ounce. Remember when we were recommending it at $900?
Yeah.
Palladium was up $77 yesterday, closing out the day at $1,557. Overnight, we saw gold trade in a range of $42.71 all the way up to $43.19. We're up about 20 cents right now at $43.0420 or $43.0450. Silver down 92 cents after yesterday's big gains at $63.10. Platinum up another $27 at $1,812, and palladium down $9 at $1,548. So the metals are doing very well, much better than many other vehicles of investment, and certainly not, and certainly outperforming Bitcoin, which is all the way down to about 87,000 now after being all the way up to 120,000 or 125,000. So the metals are, once again, proving themselves to be the only real money left in the world.
Yeah, and unlike Bitcoin, gold, silver, platinum, it really exists, right? You can hold it. You can get. Let me ask you about about the silver. We're a little over $63 an ounce on silver. What's your recommendation on silver? Are we still buying and holding? And on these are great prices.
Yeah, I think silver's got some ways to go. There's a lot of forecasters pegging silver to go to 100. I don't know whether we're going to see 100, but we could certainly see 70, maybe even before this year is out.
Oh my goodness.
Yep, and still the best buy in all the precious metals is silver. 90% silver coins at CKN listeners get our special at $4 back of the price of silver. So you can buy 90% silver coins and save $4 an ounce on your silver investment. So
you're getting silver coins. Correct me if I state this wrong, okay? You're getting silver coins for $4 less than the price of silver? Is that what you just said?
That's correct. So 90% silver coins at $4 less than the price of silver. So that's for a minimum of $500 face value.
That's amazing. That's great news. I got to savor that for a second because 90% silver is just one. Because when I was a kid, I used to take that out of the grandma and grandpa's pockets. There's 90%. I talked to you about this a few times. I love those things, and I've been trying to turn you into them, Steve. And when you're getting them under the price of silver, oh my goodness. William Youngerman opens up at 10 a.m. Stop in at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. Give him a call toll-free, 1-800-327-5010. 1-800-327-5010. And online, WilliamYoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll talk tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day. Thanks.
All right, take care. Steve, have you been following these shooting events that have been going on over the weekend?
I have.
Oh my goodness. I still can't believe these liberal lunatics in Providence, Rhode Island do not have the Brown University shooter yet.
They got the pictures are much clearer this morning if you've seen them on television.
Yeah, well, Laura Loomer had pointed something out about these new video of the guy that we've seen. They're pretty good because he's got the mask on, right? Like the COVID mask. She said the way, there were some of the students, she's reported this, some of the students reported that he yelled out Allah Akbar when he was doing the shooting. And the media have suppressed that. But she said in this new video that they released, he's walking with his hands behind his back. She says that's how Muslim guys in the Middle East walk, with their hands behind their back like that. And when you go and watch the video, once I tell you that, you'll see it. And that's all you'll see. We got the job numbers came in too. U.S. added 64,000 jobs in November, and that's great. That's great, But anyway, if you watch the guy walking around, he is it is unusual for a guy to walk around with his hands behind his back like that. And she's right about Muslims. The guys, when they arrested that white guy over the weekend, I'm like, there's no way, And have you been watching the press conferences in Rhode Island?
Absolutely.
These are some really liberal people running Rhode Island. First of all, the mayor of Providence, when he first came out over the weekend, I didn't know if he was a man or a woman. He looks like Rachel Maddow, right? And the police chief, the colonel, he does the press conference bilingually with Spanish. What's that about? I mean, come on. And English is his second language. His English isn't that great, but they are suppressing information that does not fit the narrative, which has allowed this shooter to roam free. And Rhode Island is the smallest state, so he could walk to the next state, literally, from Brown. I've never seen such little news coverage on a mass shooting event like the guy that is at Brown University. The media are barely interested in this story. They're covering Australia more than they're covering Rhode Island, which I don't get.
Fox has been ripping the hell out of them.
In Providence, in Rhode Island?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it came out that Brown University has more cameras than any other major university for some reason. They have some camera system that they normally brag about.
But they're not in that building.
Oh, please. They're all over the place. And, the cameras they have now are better than what they're showing us on these street cameras. These are 4K cameras. I don't buy that they don't have better video. And we haven't heard the Allah Akbar, other than Laura Loomer. I haven't heard anyone. Have you heard them report that on Fox? I've
just heard a lot of speculation on that. I haven't heard any confirmations.
And the analysis of the guy walking with his hands behind his back, that was some pretty sharp analysis. They're so liberal there. They would rather a mass shooter get away than capture him and not. They were doing high fives when they thought it was that white guy from over the weekend. They got all excited. Oh, white guy. We got him. We knew it. The White Devils, but they let him go. And I knew that wasn't the guy. I knew that because I'd heard the Allah Akbar. Hold on a moment, Steve. Let me get all these people. All right. Are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, I'm going to conference in some callers. Let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, my name is Jacob from North Carolina. How you doing?
Hey, Jacob.
Hey, Jake, what's up?
Well, with all the with the situation that's happened there in Long Island, I think it does everyone best to let the facts come out first before we come to any conclusions. I think your listeners would appreciate that as well.
Oh, so we shouldn't talk about news until it's old news?
Oh, no, just no facts until they're...
Well, it is a fact. Laura Loomer has been reporting for 3 days that students have said that were witnesses that the shooter yelled out Allah Akbar.
Correct. And what I'm saying is, That's a very big statement and claim. And if that's the case, there should be some type of evidence and facts before we push that narrative.
Oh, so we shouldn't tell that story. What if he busted in and said, MAGA rules, make America great, baby? You don't think the media would have that all over the place? Or would they be sitting on it?
If one Democrat is saying that they said that, I would think that's wrong. Because I don't think...
No. What I'm telling you is, students who witnessed it said that he yelled out Allah Akbar. The media is suppressing it. If he would have come in and said, make America great again, and then did it, do you think the media would be sitting on that, or would that be the lead?
To answer your question directly, I think that would be the lead. I think
it would be the lead. Yeah, they would lead with that.
I also think that it's hard to hide something like an attack like that.
It's been 4 days, and they haven't been reporting the Allah Akbar. 4 days. Laura Loomer was reporting it over the weekend. Today's Tuesday.
Well, I watch your show all the time. I'm going to definitely do my homework and see if I find anybody else reporting it.
Laura Loomer is always right.
I haven't seen anything on the Allah Akbar that I would consider a confirmed report.
Laura Loomer is always right. She's always right.
Laura Loomer, you and your Laura Loomer.
She's always right.
Okay.
She's never been wrong.
I think your listeners deserve facts compared
These
to
are facts. It's a developing news story. We report them as it happens.
Okay, no problem. And once you're saying it that way, guys, I'm not sure, but there are some reports that say, but there is no facts yet. We're waiting for the facts. Once you report it that way, I think your listeners would appreciate that.
I just think you want us to not report the truth. If a student heard him say "Make America Great Again," believe me, that's all you would. The "Make America Great Again" shooter, it would be the headline everywhere.
Well, we don't know about that, but I do know that I haven't seen anything on television on that "Make America" on that Allah Akbar report that confirms it.
Okay, well, I trust. Hey, caller, thanks so much for the call. I was talking earlier, Steve, I'm wearing this America 250 official shirt for the 250th anniversary. And my wife and I on Sunday, we're doing laundry. We're putting the clothes away. My wife picked up this shirt and said, Brian, there's no way that shirt fits you. It's so tiny. And she held it up. She's like, this shirt's too small for you. I said, Kathy, it fits me perfectly. You know, I lost all this weight from Coastal Weight Loss Secrets. She says, this shirt does not fit you. It's too small. I put it on right there. And I'm wearing it now. And it fits me like it's supposed to fit. It's amazing. I'm wearing, Steve, I don't know, I could like maybe shop in the boys department. I've lost so much weight, it's crazy. Listen, my results are typical. Call Coastal Weight Loss Secret no matter where you're located, okay? No Ozempic, no shots, no injections, no prescriptions. Call and schedule your no-charge consultation, 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300, and online, coastalweightlossecret.com. Steve, do you want to take some calls with me in the after show?
Sure.
I'm going to put you on hold for a second. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show, on the radio since 1977. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. I'm Brian. Steve's here. God bless Donald Trump. Okay, we're clear. You want to take some calls? We're in the after show now, just on YouTube.
Sure.
Okay, not too many though, because I gotta do something.
How long you want? How many calls are you gonna take?
I don't know. We'll see how. Let's judge it by the quality. Okay. Let's see how good the first one or two are, then we'll decide. Tell you the truth, I've had 2 bottles of Gatorade, and we've been so busy, I haven't been able to go to the men's room the whole show. So all right. I'm sorry. Full disclosure. All right. Okay. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian from Deerfield.
Oh, hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian. Hi, Steve.
This is a rare, by the way, this is a rare appearance by Steve Kane on the after show. So.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
Well, there's something to celebrate there.
Yes.
Brian, listen, this is a totally botched investigation. Until that the correct shooter is apprehended, isn't that considered a shooting in progress?
Yes.
I mean, what is this? I mean, they're walking around like... I mean, these guys look like they're in deer in headlights. The police chief and the mayor. Oh, forget this guy.
The mayor.
But that's considered still an active shooting, I would think.
Absolutely. You know, the last caller and the Allah Akbar. Okay.
Yeah.
The media are totally suppressing that, and you totally suppressing it.
Either that or it hasn't been confirmed. which is the way I'm.
Loomer would not report it if she did not have confirmation.
She's been pretty accurate. She's been pretty accurate. What really troubles me, you get a nut job like this, and he said, well, I did this shooting 4 days ago. Well, is he thinking I can do it again someplace else? I got away with it once, I can do it again? I mean, these guys are psychopaths. That guy's got to be found, and until then, there should be no classes at Brown University. Nothing.
If there had been students that said that the shooter said "Make America Great Again," do you think that mayor that looks like Rachel Maddow and the police chief that speaks Spanish in the press conference, do you think would be what they would be talking about?
Oh, that's all they'd be talking about. That's all they'd be talking about 24 hours a day. That's all we'd hear. But I feel for the students there and the people who live in the community there. You still have an active shooter around there. He may go to another university site or someplace else.
Yeah.
They don't have the guy.
Or he may be a cutter.
If you were the shooter, if I was the shooter, I wouldn't be anywhere near that campus by now. I'd be a million miles away.
He might be in Qatar.
Well, Steve, if you're a rational person, but if you're a nut job like these guys, maybe think, hey, I may as well go back again and do some more shooting.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. We've had 3 plots, right? All connected, in my view. We had the Australian shooting of Jews, right? The Hanukkah shooting in Australia. This plot that they uncovered was Free Palestine people in L.A. yesterday. Okay.
Yeah.
And this Brown University, that's also Muslim. So I'm sorry.
The attack on the Jewish community.
By the way, Steve, are you there still?
I'm here.
Okay.
I mean, this is a global attack on our Jewish friends and our Jewish community, and we've really got to pay attention to this. But that thing at Brown University, I mean, you're talking about.
And look at who the targets were. There were 2 people that were the targets. The head of the Republican Club and the Jewish professor of the Israeli Studies class.
Right. Isn't that amazing? And that's no coincidence.
No.
That's no coincidence. I think this guy had a hit list when he went in there. But that's an active crime scene, and when you have an active shooter walking around there, and these guys are doing press conferences like they don't have a clue what's going on.
Well, I think these guys, these social justice warriors running the state of Rhode Island, would rather the guy get away than the truth get out.
I would hate to agree. You'd hate to agree with something like that, but I think you're right because they don't want any bad press for their narrative, and that's it. If they can't suppress it, they're just going to let it run. Mm-hmm. But I guarantee you, that guy was a MAGA guy. That's all we'd hear. And
by the way, if he did yell out "Make America Great Again," you would want that out. Mm-hmm. It would help track him down so he doesn't do it to somebody else.
Well, how long is this guy just walking around the campus like that, dressed in black,
with his hands behind his back?
His hands behind his back. Nobody thought that was maybe a little bit out of place.
Yep.
Brown University.
All right, take care. Good to hear from you. Thanks for the call. All right, want to try another one, Steve?
Sure, one more.
All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi. Good morning. This is CC. Nice to talk with you, Brian. And Steve, this is my first time. If you're still there.
Nice to speak to you.
Yeah, so I just have 2 comments on 2 of the topics you brought up today. The Brown one, I just rather wait for more data to come in. But on the comment regarding Trump and Reiner, I actually think that his post was very measured, to be honest with you, in light of the fact that this was someone who was coming after me. I mean, there are not many of us who have had attacks on our lives. Brian, you brought up, you and Steve both have had stalkers, that have...
and weirdos.
Yes. So unless, you got to walk a mile in a man's shoes, so to speak. And so I think from that perspective, his comment was very measured, if you ask me.
Absolutely.
Well, it was the tone. It was the tone more than the words. It was just in the context of the brutality of the crime. The tone was. It could have been. It rubbed me the wrong way, and I'm a big Trump fan.
But I think some of your opinion is based on you like Rob Reiner's work, and I like some of his work too.
Well, I mean, if we're talking about Rob Reiner's work, it's a no contest. I mean, he was brilliant.
But
you, as a student of film, ought to appreciate that more than anybody.
But for the last 12 years, yeah, go ahead, caller.
Can I say this? And I can see all perspectives, but here, when Charlie Kirk died, we had people coming on. They were dancing. Oh, he's well, Now, if Trump had come across like dancing on the man's grave, that would have been atrocious. But he said, "Rest in peace." I mean, we were forgetting all the good things that that's why I'm saying it was measured.
Yeah,
he
I agree.
wasn't saying he was excited that he, or happy that he had passed. He did say, "Rest in peace." So, but Trump is honest,
Well,
and
he was. It looked to me. This
always...
is the deal. This is what it looks like to me with Rob Reiner. Okay, they had the Russiagate people. And Rob Reiner was part of the team to go on television and sell it. And because of his celebrity to the group they were trying to sell it to, he was on TV all the time, CNN and MSNBC. And he was officially part of the plot. And I'm hoping it comes out that he was earning money from it. If that would be...
You're creating your own narrative here. I mean,
he's on the committee to
at least wait to see what comes out.
He's on the committee. He's the founder of the committee to investigate Russia with James Clapper and 2 CIA directors. So we know he was involved in the plot.
Right. Yeah, well, time will tell, right?
That's right.
I have one last comment, and then I'll let another caller come in. On the Bongino. You know what? Listening to your comments that you were saying earlier, you know what comes to mind? I'm thinking about all of when they were on TV, they looked like they were hostages talking with the reporters.
Yes.
And always, what keeps coming to my mind is Kash Patel saying, "Let cops be cops." And I wonder if there was a little bit of, I don't know if you want to call it friction, or where she was, Bondi may have been kind of tying their hands behind their back a little bit, if you know what I mean, and not letting them, I don't know. Like I said, that will come.
I think the local police were terrible. The local police were inept and they got in the way, is the bottom line.
Yeah.
And Fox was telling it like it was. And I'm sure that didn't go over too big with the officials from Rhode Island. By the way, it's Rhode Island, not Long
I'm
Island.
speaking about Rhode Island. No. I'm speaking about the
Bongino.
Like we heard about Bongino and Bondi with the Epstein. We don't know if that's true, but I guess it'll come out.
This is the thing with the three of them. Okay, I've talked about this all year. I think Bongino and Kash Patel have overhyped their resume for years as influencers, and then when they got the job, they didn't know how to do it. Like Tom Homan knows what he's doing.
I don't disagree with you on that. I really don't.
You got to be careful of that. One time William Shatner used to host a show called Rescue 911. He was at the beach and there was a kid drowning. He went in to save the kid. The lifeguard had to come out and save William Shatner and the kid. Okay, he realized I only play action heroes on TV. He realized it real quick, and I think that's I almost feel bad for Bongino. Bongino is a very good. He was a federal agent, but he was an office cop, not a real guy like Homan.
Yeah, I think his brand is going to take a hit from this too.
He's not going to recover.
Sure yeah. Time will tell.
If he's going to recover when he goes back to do his show, the only hope he has is to become a never Trumper like Marjorie Taylor Greene. That's the only thing, because I don't know if he's aware of it or not, but if there would have been a lot of arrest, and like yesterday, Tom Homan in the Oval Office. I visited the border this week by Jeep, by air. I didn't see one. We saw him kicking indoors. What can Bongino point to? The pipe bomber where he said we interviewed no new witnesses and did no investigation. I just went through the files and we got the guy. He's got nothing.
Yeah, and I'll have you know that Kyle Serafin, who was a former FBI guy, he has this podcast going on, and he is saying that they walked into a trap with that one. Effectively, they still have agents in there who are setting them up to fail.
Yes.
So I really do feel sorry for the both of them. They have a tough job.
He shouldn't have taken the job. I would have told, if I were him, I would have told the president, see, like a lot of these people, like the Treasury Secretary and the Secretary of the Interior, they're billionaires. And their money that they've got their money and it's passive. Dan Bongino, you're doing a show like we're doing right here. If you step away from it, the revenue stops. Dan Bongino is new money. He's not like Scott Bassett. So he was in the beginning phases, and it's all dried up, and that's why him and his wife, their marriage is falling apart. Like he said it did. He said they were divorced, separated. He said on Fox, it's over the money.
Very fair.
And I feel bad for him. He should have told the president, I can't afford to. Who's that doctor? The doctor on CNN, Sanjay Gupta. Sanjay Gupta, when Obama first became president, Obama went to him and asked him to be the Surgeon General. And he says, I can't afford to be the Surgeon General. He says, I make a good living on CNN. I can't support my family on that, on $138,000 a year. And he turned it down. That's what Bongino should have told the president. I want to take it, but I'm making $1 million a week. I can't do it.
Yeah, good point.
All right.
Well, God bless you guys, and Merry Christmas if I don't talk to
Well,
you
listen, you're a good caller. Call again.
Merry Christmas.
All right, and Happy New Year. Right. And do people still do? I think Kwanzaa's dried up. I don't think people do that
God
anymore.
bless us, everyone.
Yep.
Who said that?
I don't know, Steve. Who?
Tiny Tim.
Oh, Tiny Tim. Okay. Is that it? Okay? Yeah, I remember. All right.
Christmas story.
That's right. That's right. All right. I'll talk to you later, Steve.
Take care.
All right. Take care. Take care. All right. Listen, if you're new to the program, make sure you subscribe. My name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. And if you're already subscribed, please like the video and share on your social. All right. Let me take this last call. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Nicole from Detroit. How y'all doing?
All right. What's up, Detroit?
I'm calling because I am tired of men worried about what President Trump is saying, how he said he is here to lead this country. He's a warrior to lead this country. He is not a pastor. He is not a counselor. He is not here to hug our feelings. Our nation is being destroyed. We have people killing Christians and Jews across the world.
That's right.
We need a president that stands up. So people need to stop whining. Men need to lead, and real men need to back him.
That's right. All right. Appreciate the call. Thanks so much. Now, I just came across this, guys. Don't go anywhere before I go. Look at this. This just came across. Here's Rob Reiner with Brennan and Clapper. Look at this.
That's good for you.
I don't think we either one.
So look at this. Here's Rob Reiner with Clapper and Brennan. Look at this.
Either person can sit at either place.
Either place.
Whatever's good for you.
Look at this.
Either one of us has a good side.
You don't
so it
have a
doesn't
good
matter.
side. It doesn't
We're both
matter.
bad
See what I mean?
All right, me too. We're both of the follically challenged. So thank you for coming. I really
look at
appreciate
this.
it. The thing that to me is so frustrating is that this cataclysmic thing happened to our country, and people don't seem to understand the gravity of it.
Oh, boy.
You guys were talking about how, it's unusual for people who have been. How many years experience do you have between you?
See what Trump has uncovered with that post on. Now we know why he did it. Have you seen this before? And look at it, Brennan, so excited. This is amazing.
What'd you say?
Well, Jim has several hundred, I think.
Probably 80 or 90 between the two of us.
So here you are with all that experience. Have you ever seen anything like this happen in this country? I mean, anything
like this kind of attack on our political system.
Well, no, not.
Holy
not,
So, I mean, here we have it. I mean, this is, I mean, he is sitting here with the two top guys. See, they brought him in to see this whole Russiagate. It's not just that he was a part of it and a spokesperson for it. He's still directing. I mean, look at the quality of this event. This is a Rob Reiner production that he's doing here. They brought Rob Reiner in to produce and direct the entire Russia narrative. And this is all coming out because President Trump made that post on Truth Social yesterday. See, here's the thing with Trump. You know, Trump's always right. Even if you, I knew when I saw that post yesterday, I told my wife, I said, Trump knows something about Rob Reiner, we don't. And here we are, it's all coming out now. And none of this came out before. Holy smokes. All right, guys, if you're new, make sure you subscribe. My name's Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. I'll talk to you next time. Take care.